Hello and welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Explore our playlist for more captivating novels, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 41, Setting Off. Lu Yang went to the stall selling xiaobing again. The seller was a senior female disciple. She leavened the dough, let it rest, kneaded it, and tossed it until a shape formed. It was unknown how long she had taken to achieve this level of proficiency. The female disciple broke the dough into smaller balls. With her hands, wrists, arms, and body, she exerted all her strength to roll the dough into the shape of a xiaobing. Her movements seemed to secretly follow some principle. Rather than simply kneading dough, it was also a method for training the body's coordination. Then the senior female disciple placed the xiaobing dough on the forging table and struck it vigorously with a huge hammer, producing deafening bangs and sparks that burned small holes in the ground. The unfinished xiaobing was quenched and tempered, the cold water instantly boiling and bubbling up. Soon, a xiaobing was ready. Lu Yang felt that he had broadened his horizons. The 100 Refinements Peak is really full of ideas. They integrated food and weapon crafting so seamlessly. I'll have one xiaobing. Lu Yang came across many interesting and wondrous things in the dining hall. The stuff here is really cheap. If not for my limited contribution points, I'd really want to buy everything. Early the next morning, Lu Yang met up with the two at the entrance of the Dao-seeking sect as they had agreed. You're the only one left. Meng Jingzhou waved to Lu Yang. Behind him was a horse carriage, the same one that had taken them to the Dao-seeking sect. The old horse was also still the same old horse. The only difference was that the third passenger had changed from Yunji to Manji Yu. Manji Yu was diligent in his studies, studying even while waiting. His wide scholarly robes covered his muscles, making him look the part of a tall and burly scholar. This chapter is updated by Fr. E. Web. Oval. C. M. We don't have to take the flying vessel. Lu Yang had already braced himself to ride the flying vessel. Although his shrinking Earth to inches was convenient, it was not as fast as the flying vessel. Thus, he decided to temporarily give up on learning shrinking Earth to inches and instead focus on shrinking Earth and to inches respectively. Meng Jingzhou patted the horse carriage, pleased with himself. This horse carriage of mine is a rare magical treasure. It contains a spatial array, so even though it may feel slow to us when we sit inside, people on the outside will see that it is traveling as fast as a flying vessel. That did make sense. The Meng family was far away in the capital city. Since Meng Jingzhou had relied on a horse carriage to travel all the way to the Dao-seeking sect, if the old horse had trudged through the journey, even a year wouldn't be enough for it to reach the Dao-seeking sect. On its way to the Dao-seeking sect, the carriage had activated an array to speed up until it could fly. Only when it got near to the sect did it turn off the array and slow down as a sign of respect to the Dao-seeking sect. By the time Lu Yang saw the carriage, it had already slowed down. The three of them boarded the carriage, yet the interior of the carriage was as spacious as ever. Only now did Lu Yang understand the true value of this carriage. Speaking of which, where are we going? What's the mission? Oh, I didn't tell you. We are going to a place called Qinghai Commandery. I'll let Brother Manji Yu tell you the specifics. After all, he was the one who found this mission. Manji Yu inserted a bookmark and closed his book before proceeding to elaborate unhurriedly. This was when I was out doing a mission. I heard it from a passenger on the flying vessel. He's a traveling merchant leader and knows many things ordinary people don't. He told me about a story circulating among them traveling merchants, and it has some credibility. Between Qinghai Commandery and Yanjiang Commandery lies an enormous mountain range. If traveling merchants want to pass through this mountain range, they would need a local hunter as their guide. However, a terrifying entity has appeared in the mountain forests, forcing the hunters to leave the forest they rely on for survival. Night descended, and the wild-growing tree branches blocked out the moonlight. Thunder roared, and rain poured, turning the ground into a muddy swamp with no safe space for one's feet. 7 to 8 people were bound together through ropes tied around their waists, preventing someone from accidentally slipping down the mountain and getting lost. The torrential rain drowned out the sounds of their surroundings. Even if someone fell and hollered at the top of their lungs, it would be hard to hear them. These people were clad in straw raincoats. They leaned on mountaineering sticks and carried wicker baskets, cautious with every step they took lest they tread into a deep pit. The bone-chilling rain had made them disheveled. Whenever they raised their head, the dense rain curtain would obstruct their view, so they could only follow the old hunter right in front. Watch your step, the mountain path is very slippery on rainy days. Don't stop even if you're tired. Push through, we're almost there. If you stop now, it'll be hard to get going again. I really can't. Save me. I'm falling. Someone slipped, and without anything to hold onto for support, they slid toward the precipice beside the mountain path. Sensing a tug from the other end of the rope, the traveling merchants realized that someone had fallen behind. They instantly halted and scrambled to pull the person back up. Ayu, hold on to the rope tightly. We'll pull together. I have no strength left. Ayu dangled by the cliff, the coarse rope around his waist being the only thing preventing him from falling. He was tired and hungry, unable to muster any strength to even climb up the rope. The old hunter was experienced, calmly directing the group while personally pulling Ayu up. You guys hug the big tree. Don't let the 7 of us also slide down. The rest of you, wind the rope around your wrist. On the count of 3, everyone will pull together. 1, 2, 3, pull. 1, 2, 3, pull. After expending their strength, everyone finally pulled Ayu up. Everyone was originally exhausted, and now they couldn't even stand firm. The old hunter still hadn't let down his guard. He nervously checked on Ayu's condition. Ayu, how did you slide down? Did you feel like someone pushed you? Ayu shook his head blankly, unsure why the old hunter had asked such a question. Of course, I had slipped on my own. Surely no one would try to harm me, right? Old son, what do you mean by that? Chi Wu, the leader of the traveling merchants, asked. He vaguely detected that something was amiss from the question. The old hunter shook his head, pointing at the dilapidated temple ahead. Let's hurry along first. We'll talk when we arrive at the mountain god temple. With the relentless downpour, it was indeed not the right environment for discussing matters. Chi Wu nodded and uttered a few words of encouragement, urging everyone to quickly seek shelter from the rain in the mountain god temple. Once everyone arrived, they didn't bother caring about appearances. Removing their straw raincoats, they plopped down on the ground panting. Then, they quickly checked their wicker baskets to see if anything had been damaged by the rain. If these baskets were ruined by the rain, their whole trip would have gone down the drain, and they would be totally unable to recover their losses. Phew, fortunately, we wrapped them with waterproof cloth beforehand. Big brother Chi, I have to give it to you for having such foresight. The mountain god temple was not particularly grand, but it was spacious. 3 old mountain god statues covered in dust stood in the center, their surroundings filled with dirt and feces. The memorial tablets written with the mountain gods' names were missing, and the offerings had long been eaten by wild animals. Even the 2 main doors had disappeared, and the wrecked windows let the frigid wind in. Everyone didn't mind it much. For them, any shelter from the rain was a good place. Chi Wu took out some goods from his wicker basket as offerings for the 3 mountain gods, thanking them for letting them use the temple for shelter. The 3 mountain gods were crudely sculpted from clay, but they could still be distinguished. The mountain god in the middle wielded a gentleman's sword, one with a righteous expression. The 2 mountain gods flanking him represented literature, arts and martial arts. One donned a scholarly robe and held a book, demonstrating literature, while the other exuded a pure upright aura, a symbol of the military. The statues were arranged according to their ranks. Mountain gods, please bless us to have a safe journey. Chi Wu couldn't shake off the feeling that the 3 mountain gods had much spirituality to them, almost as if they were alive. Chapter 42. Legends often deviate from reality. After offering tribute to the mountain gods, Chi Wu quickly joined the others who were gathered together. Drenched from head to toe, everyone shuddered as a cold breeze blew past. We'll get sick at this rate. The old hunter walked to a corner and carried a bundle of firewood, flashing his large teeth as he smiled. As hunters will occasionally seek shelter from the rain here, so we left some firewood here in case of unexpected weather like today. Chi Wu was elated. That is much appreciated. The old hunter waved it off. It's nothing. Life in the mountains is about you helping me and me helping you. When the rain stops tomorrow, we just have to collect some firewood and put it back. Everyone swiftly piled up the firewood on the ground where traces of a fire remained. Chiwu lit up a stick with a fire talisman and placed it within the dry firewood. He gently blew and fanned it until a fire slowly ignited. Watching the flames dance and feeling its warmth, someone heaved out a sigh of relief. We're finally alive again. Big brother Chi, do you want a yellow rice biscuit or a white rice biscuit? What about one of each? One person distributed the rations. After everyone received their portion, they placed it near the fire to roast. As the aroma wafted into the air, Ayu took out a can of soy sauce pickles so that everyone could spread it on their biscuits. One bite filled their mouths with a salty fragrance. Ayu, your skills in preparing soy sauce pickles are really decent. Why not set up a soy sauce pickles store? You don't have to join us as traveling merchants then. Ayu simply smiled and didn't make any comment. Reminded of the incident earlier, Chiwu asked, "Old son, why did you ask whether Ayu was pushed by someone?" It was the first time for Chiwu's group to be entering the mountains. They wanted to cross the mountain range and reach Qinghai Commandery on the other side to sell their goods. After searching for a long time, they finally found a local old hunter as their guide. The old hunter's expression turned grave. "Have you heard of tiger henchmen ghosts?" 1. Chiwu and the others similarly became solemn. Having traveled extensively, they naturally knew of some supernatural stories. Someone even exclaimed, "Are you referring to the tiger henchman ghosts from the saying, acting as a henchman to a tiger?" 2. The old hunter nodded, lowering his voice. "This mountain is called Pine Mountain. Around 10 years ago, a hunter came into the mountain to hunt but vanished subsequently, leaving only a shoe behind. At that time, some people claimed that a tiger demon had come to the mountain and eaten that hunter. Initially, the people were unwilling to believe that. They had been living here for generations, so how could it be possible for a tiger demon to appear? However, as time passed, someone mentioned that their hunter dog would bark in a certain direction when hunting. When he looked in the same direction, he was frightened until his body went stiff. There was a brightly colored fierce tiger, at least 4 meters long. The fierce tiger pounced toward the hunter dog, and he fled for his life right away. Fortunately, that fierce tiger didn't chase him. Some people also noticed that people would go missing from time to time, so they reported the situation to Qinghai Commandery. After the officials learned of the matter, they asked me to look for Yanjiang Commandery, saying that Pine Mountain was close to Yanjiang Commandery and that this should be under their jurisdiction since we would be sending our game to Yanjiang Commandery. However, upon arriving in Yanjiang Commandery, the officials there said that Pine Mountain was part of Qinghai Commandery and should be under Qinghai Commandery's jurisdiction. After going back and forth multiple times, both parties sent 2 cultivators to search for traces of the tiger demon in Pine Mountain. However, they didn't even find a single tiger hair in 10 days. Those 2 cultivators thought that we were playing with them and wasting their time, so we explained that the tiger demon could be purposely hiding from them and didn't dare to come out. They didn't listen to our explanations and left in a huff. We then went to look for the authorities again, but they no longer bothered with us. Left with no choice, most people left Pine Mountain to seek another way out. Only a few of us old folks who know nothing else but hunting stayed behind. Afterward, we realized that we would encounter those missing travelers when we went hunting. These travelers would suddenly disappear in one moment and appear in another, even pushing you. Sometimes, when I take people into the mountains, those travelers would pretend to bump into us by coincidence and ask whether they can tag along since we're all going in the same direction. How could I possibly dare? I quickly led my group away. The older generations mentioned that there was something called tiger henchman ghosts. After a tiger demon kills a person, they would become a tiger henchman ghost and help the tiger demon find their prey by tricking people to some place where they are turned into new tiger henchman ghosts. However, dealing with tiger henchman ghosts is still manageable. As long as you reject their requests, they won't do anything to you. Realization dawned upon Chiwu. With how big this mountain forest is, there should be many hunters, yet we only found a few after such a long time, and these hunters are even staying together. So, it's because of the tiger demon. Noticing Ayu's hesitation, Chiwu prompted him, "Ayu, just speak your mind." Ayu was originally embarrassed to ask, but since his boss had spoken, he decided not to hold back anymore. "I have a question. Are there female tiger henchmen ghosts? Are they beautiful? Can they seduce? Will they suck a man's yang energy?" Is it possible that she and I begin a forbidden romance and run away from the tiger demon's murderous pursuit and roam the Jianghu? With every question that left Ayu's mouth, a question mark would pop up above everyone else's heads. Ayu scratched his head abashedly upon seeing everyone's reactions. This is how it's always written in the novels I read in Chinese ghost stories. 3. Something about a beautiful female ghost and a human's romantic entanglements and the likes. Chiwu fell silent for a moment before patting Ayu's shoulder. You should read fewer books. He then turned to the old hunter. Old son, why didn't you report this matter to the 5 great immortal sects? As upholders of the righteous path, they wouldn't turn a blind eye. The source of this CNTENT is freewebin0-vel.co. 5 great immortal sects. The old hunter was bemused. I have never heard of this term. They include righteous sects such as the Tao-seeking sect and the Hanging Monastery, and they are the 5 strongest sects on the continent. I seem to have heard of this name before, said the old hunter with uncertainty. I'm not sure where I've heard it before. It could have been in the tea house below the mountains, the travelers who entered the mountains, when I was younger or after I got old. I can't remember clearly anymore. In fact, the common folk barely knew anything about cultivators, only joining in for the gossip and fun. Moreover, it was too easy for a story to become warped after being passed on by word of mouth. By the time it reached the civilians' ears, it would have become poles apart from the true story and no longer credible. For example, Chiwu once heard that the Tao-seeking sect's name was an allusion to the boundless path to an immortal and asking the heavens for seeking the Tao. Cultivation was also about cultivating one's heart and mind. It required one to constantly question themselves which path they were pursuing, whether it was the righteous or diabolic path, so that they do not forget their true self and original aspirations. When Chiwu encountered a Tao-seeking sect disciple who seemed to go by the name of Dai Bufan, he asked the latter how the Tao-seeking sect got its name. Chiwu still remembered Dai Bufan's answer even until now. Oh, this question. Well, I'll have to start with our sect's founding ancestor, innate Taoist. In order to find an area with favorable feng shui, he spent a large sum to invite someone from the Heaven Strategy sect to calculate the position. Finally, he located a prime land that accumulated feng shui in all 8 directions. He even said that to ensure the sect's longevity, it needed to be established at a specific place and time. However, our founder was someone with no sense of direction. Despite the clear markers, he still got lost, so he could only seek the way from an old farmer. Only then did he find the sect's location in time. To thank the old farmer, our founder named the sect the Tao-seeking sect. Chapter 43, Your Mountain God Grandfather. That means that this Tao-seekinger sect is very powerful? The old hunter asked. No, it's the Tao-seeking sect, Chiwu corrected the old hunter's pronunciation. When we go to Qingwai Commandery tomorrow, we will write a letter to the 5 great immortal sects to ask for help. Chiwu had asked about the procedure during his meeting with Dai Bufan. Back then, he was still lamenting about how the local officials with hardly any cultivation were aloof, finding themselves to be above the rest. He didn't expect that immortal sect disciples who were detached from the mortal world would be more affable. However, Chiwu didn't know about Dai Bufan's position in the sect and thought that he was only an ordinary disciple. Had he known Dai Bufan's true identity and cultivation, he probably wouldn't just be lamenting like he was now. The old hunter was overjoyed and hurriedly thanked Chiwu and the others. He even offered to waive their travel expenses if they could really deal with the tiger demon once and for all, but Chiwu was quick to decline. It wasn't that they didn't want to save money but rather because they weren't sure if the old hunter was just being polite or actually sincere. I'm sorry, but I got caught in the rain. Could I stay here for the night? A graceful figure emerged from the curtain of rain. She donned a cyan dress, and her brows carried a trace of sorrow, making people involuntarily agree to her request. Everyone turned their heads to Ayu. Speak of the devil, a female ghost really came as soon as you said it. Did you jinx it? No. Chiwu immediately refused the young woman's request. We are in the middle of nowhere with not even a village or shops nearby. All of a sudden, a pretty woman appears in the mountain forest. Recalling the old hunter's words, he couldn't help but be suspicious. Most importantly, this woman is dry. It's like a deluge out there, so how could she be dry? The girl in cyan was slightly annoyed. Although the group looked educated, she felt that their words lacked decorum. You are so unreasonable. Let's not mention that this mountain god temple has no owner and that all of you are simply seeking shelter here, it's also pouring outside. Are you honestly going to let a girl like me keep maintaining a spell just to protect myself from the rain? Spell? You're a cultivator? Chiwu cautiously asked. Most cultivators were amiable toward mortals, but there was no telling what the other party might do if provoked. He began to hesitate. On the other hand, the old hunter's attitude was firm. Based on his many years of living experience in the mountain forest, he felt that there was definitely something wrong with the girl, but his tone became much more tactful. Esteemed cultivator, you're a cultivator but also a girl. If you stay with 8 men in a temple, it wouldn't be good for your reputation. How about this? To the north is a mountain path, and halfway up there is a temporary wooden hut built by us hunters. This distance should be not more than a few steps for an expert like yourself. The old hunter was telling the truth. There was in fact a wooden hut, but it couldn't accommodate so many of them, which was why he had brought the group to the mountain god temple to seek shelter instead. The girl in green contemplated for a bit and felt that the old hunter's words made sense. As a woman, although I don't care about trivial details when I wander the Zhonghu, there's no reason to stay in this tattered temple when I have a better option. After the girl left, everyone let out a long sigh of relief. They had been scared that the girl might transform into a ferocious tiger and devour them. All right, let's go to sleep and recharge. We still have to wake up early tomorrow to continue on our way. I really don't want to come to this awful place a second time. Chiwu was yawning, his eyes still droopy. He originally wanted to sleep with his head facing inward, but he would be facing the mountain god statue. He couldn't shake off the feeling that something was amiss with the mountain god statue. Not daring to get too close, he could only ask everyone to have their heads face the door while sleeping. After arranging for pairs to take turns keeping watch for the night, the rest went to sleep. After they slipped into slumber, the mountain god statue's eyes rolled, turning downward to stare at everyone. But no one noticed. Ayu yawned, his eyes still blurry, as if he could fall back to sleep any moment. He was part of the first pair to be on night watch. So tired, how I wish I could sleep. Just hold on for a bit. They've already said that it isn't safe on this mountain. Right, I can't sleep. I'm still waiting for the female ghost to attack me in the night. You look average. Haven't you read in the books that female ghosts like the handsome ones? I should be the one getting ambushed instead. The female ghosts like scholars. You've only studied for a few days. They like well-read people like me. The two people's debate on the non-existent female ghost became increasingly intense, and they also became more awake. Suddenly, a low roar rumbled. Even the curtain of rainfall and thunder couldn't drown out the roar. Both of them immediately shuddered. Just when they wondered if they were hallucinating, another roar resounded in the air. And this time, it was closer. It's that tiger demon. The two exchanged glances, seeing the fear in each other's eyes. Everyone, get up. There's a demon, Ayu hurriedly hollered. The rest were jolted awake from their sleep. With their weapons tightly grasped, they stared fixedly outside the temple. Beads of cold sweat kept tumbling down from their foreheads, and their legs couldn't stop trembling. The roar vanished, but it was replaced by heavy breathing. From the sound of it, it was easy to imagine how colossal its owner was. A dark figure appeared in the rain, continuing to grow larger. Everyone was on tenterhooks and kept shivering. The gigantic head of a tiger passed through the rain and extended toward the mountain god temple. Chiwu could even count the individual strands of hair on the tiger's head. The tiger demon walked into the temple, and everyone's clothes were drenched in sweat. This is actually a 4-meter-tall tiger. Pushing on its hind legs, the tiger demon could stand upright. Old son, what do we do now? Chiwu asked softly. We definitely can't beat this tiger demon with the wooden rods in our hands. To everyone's surprise, the old hunter walked toward the tiger demon and bowed. Lord Tiger, please enjoy your meal. Good job, the tiger demon spoke. It was unclear what cultivation it was at. Chiwu's eyes widened in wrath, wishing he could tear the old hunter into smithereens. That girl in cyan wasn't a tiger henchman ghost. It was the old hunter beside us all along. The tiger demon revealed a human-like smile and mocked, I initially didn't want to eat you since there's too many of you. If all of you die, it'll attract the attention of the outside world. But you left me with no choice. To think you wanted to report me to the 5 great immortal sects. In that case, I can't leave you alive. The tiger demon pressed the old hunter down with a paw. And you just can't stop talking, insisting on telling some story. Now, you even need me to turn up and clean up your mess. Do you want me to kill you again? This chapt. R is updated by Fr. E. Web. Oval. C. M. The old hunter begged for forgiveness, declaring that he wouldn't do it again. The tiger demon harumphed. It's considered a merit that you chased that female cultivator away. Since your merits cancel out your faults, I won't punish you this time. The tiger demon didn't have the habit of toying with its prey. It bent down to size Chiwu up, making a sound as if there was phlegm in his throat. You're the smartest one here. If you are willing to serve me, I can transform you into a tiger henchman ghost where you will neither be dead nor alive. At this point, Chiwu was no longer scared. He pointed at the old hunter and sneered, if I had to go around harming people like him, I might as well die. Bah! You don't know what's good for you. I gave you the easy way out, but you chose to do it the hard way. Having never been insulted like this before, the tiger demon flew into a rage. The sound waves spread out, causing the roof of the temple to vibrate and threaten to collapse. The tiger demon gave up on talking them into surrender. It opened its humongous bloody mouth and pounced toward everyone. Chiwu shut his eyes, waiting for his demise. Just then, a gentleman's sword appeared between the tiger demon and Chiwu. The sword rays were dazzling, radiating like the sun at dawn as it cut across the tiger demon's face. Who is it? The tiger demon bellowed in ire. Your mountain god grandfather. Chapter 44. Gentlemen hide weapons on themselves. Chiwu watched incredulously as the scene unfolded before his eyes. The clay mountain god statue has come alive. And it's wielding a sword to slay demons. The mountain god has answered our prayers, Ayu commented in a daze. Chiwu was the fastest to react. That's not right. Someone was hiding in the mountain god statue. His words had hit home. During the battle with the tiger demon, chunks of clay fell from the mountain god, revealing the person's original appearance. It was none other than Lu Yang. Son of a dog. I've been waiting for you for 5 whole days. My efforts in pretending to be a statue weren't in vain. Have a taste of my sword. Lu Yang viciously yelled as he thrust a kick. A quick-witted person like me just can't sit still. In order to prevent the tiger demon from discovering me, I had to hide inside the statue and not move an inch for 5 days. It has been truly unbearable. Before the rest could fully register what was happening, the other 2 civil and military mountain god statues also came to life. Lu Yang, let us assist you. Meng Jingzhou and Man Jiyu broke free from the clay and demonstrated their own expertise, annihilating the tiger demon. 5 days ago, 3 uninvited guests arrived at the mountain god temple. After ingesting fasting pills, they dug the mountain god statues hollow and hid inside. As the statues were much larger than the average person, they had no problem staying inside. Are you sure this method will work? Meng Jingzhou and Man Jiyu glanced at Lu Yang in doubt. Based on information brother Man Jiyu provided, we can only play the waiting game and wait for the tiger demon to come over for its meal. Let's go in first. Man Jiyu mused about it. Is this what the books mean by, gentlemen hide weapons on themselves, waiting only for the perfect moment to strike? Indeed, this must be what it means. Just like they say, not only do we have to read 10,000 books, but we should also travel 10,000 li. Man Jiyu was elated. Back when he had come across this phrase, he couldn't understand its meaning. However, he had only just come on his first mission with Lu Yang and Meng Jingzhou, and he had already gained such insights. Shifu is right. If I want to study well, I have to first find a good study role model. After the 3 of them selected their respective god statues, they entered them and maintained the same posture, leaving only their eyes exposed. Hey, can you hear me? Lu Yang used the Divine Mind technique as a form of telepathy. The Divine Mind technique was a spell the 3 of them just picked up on their journey. At close proximity, they didn't have to rely on spirit power. Instead, they could just use their mental power to communicate. It was also easy to learn and easily applied with just a bit of practice with their mental power. We can hear you, Meng Jingzhou and Man Jiyu replied. The horse carriage is fine, right? Meng Jingzhou was worried about his carriage and old horse. To avoid being detected by the tiger demon, they had entrusted the carriage to a hostelry in Yanjiang Commandery. We have too little information on the tiger demon, but what we can be currently certain of is that this tiger demon's cultivation is between the basic foundation establishment to the basic golden core stage. It is a sly one, and it is wary of drawing trouble by harming cultivators, so it only eats mortals. If cultivators search the mountains, it will hide somewhere no one can find it. In other words, it will definitely avoid confrontation with cultivators as much as it can. It was not without reason that the tiger demon could settle in Pine Mountain for so long without being discovered by cultivators. The key was avoiding conflict. That's why we have to hide ourselves beforehand. When the tiger demon comes later, we'll annihilate it in one strike. Tiger demons are more sensitive towards spirit energy, so we mustn't use spirit energy while waiting. That was also the reason they had decided to activate the Divine Mind technique. 5 days later. Dude, after waiting for so many days, someone's finally here. Looks like traveling merchants. Hold on, why is there an old hunter? Didn't they say that all the hunters had left Pine Mountain because of the tiger demon? When they were thoroughly inspecting Pine Mountain, they heard from the locals that all the hunters in the mountains had left and it had been a long time since one came down from the mountains to sell hide. Tiger henchman ghost. The three communicated mentally, obtaining the same conclusion in an instant. This wasn't some old hunter leading the way, he was a tiger henchman ghost leading victims to their doom. They were initially still skeptical about the matter of the tiger demon, but now that they had seen the tiger henchman ghost, they were sure that there was a tiger demon in the mountain. Have you heard what the old hunter said? He and a few other hunters were staying together, and that was where the leader of the traveling merchants found him. He didn't seem to be lying about that. It's possible that those few hunters were also tiger henchmen ghosts. They disguised themselves as normal people and deceived passers-by together. This would make them more convincing and prevent others from suspecting that they are tiger henchmen ghosts. Do we get rid of the tiger henchman ghost now? Meng Jingzhou was eager to go. Lu Yang held Meng Jingzhou back. Don't alarm them. Didn't you hear the Gai Chi Wu mention seeking the 5 great immortal sects for help? Based on the tiger demon's prudent character, it will definitely come and eliminate them. We should wait quietly. Once the tiger demon appears, I will attack. Both of you, cover me and also let the traveling merchants evacuate the place. Roger. Did you hear the footsteps outside the temple? It's probably not the tiger demon. Hearing that Chi Wu and the old hunter wanted to chase away the girl in cyan, Man Ji Yu couldn't help but mutter, they're really stupid. With this female cultivator around, the tiger demon wouldn't come over to kill them because it's worried about its existence getting discovered. If it kills the female cultivator, her sect may come to take revenge, but if it doesn't kill her, the female cultivator will bring her fellow sect members along. Either way, it's a dead end. The only solution is to divert the female cultivator away. Look, I got it right. The tiger henchman ghost diverted her away. Lu Yang was more composed. But if you think about it from another angle, the tiger demon won't appear with the female cultivator around. How much longer would we have to wait then? Meng Jingzhou exclaimed softly, did you notice the jade tablet at the young woman's waist? Is there a problem with the jade tablet? Lu Yang and Man Ji Yu were aware that jade tablets were often a symbol of the owner's identity, but they didn't know the specifics. That's from the Moon Laurel Celestial Palace. Moon Laurel Celestial Palace. One of the 5 great immortal sects. Between the central continent and the extreme north lay a continuous range of snow-capped mountains. It would snow all year long, and the snow mountains were known as the tallest peaks on the central continent, closest to the moon. Sitting above the snow mountains was a picturesque celestial palace, the Moon Laurel Celestial Palace. She is probably at the foundation establishment stage. When we fight with the tiger demon later, let's try our best to make the commotion louder so that she notices. We'll see if she's willing to lend a hand. They could deduce that she was not at the golden core stage since cultivators at that level could see through the old hunter's guise rather than being easily deceived and led away like she was. After a while more, the 3 watched on as Chi Wu and the rest slept like a log. Man Ji Yu recited quotes of sages and used his willpower to dispel his sleepiness. A sage once said, one reflects upon oneself thrice a day. 1. Are you tired? I'm not tired. Are you tired? I'm not tired. Are you tired? I'm not tired. Stop reciting. You're making me sleepy. Meng Jingzhou told Man Ji to recite in his mind instead as he couldn't help but yawn. But I'm reciting in my mind now, Man Ji replied with the divine mind technique. Listen closely. Lu Yang paid no attention to their foolish conversation. He had been forcing himself to concentrate and constantly be on guard for any commotion outside. Something is stepping on the dry grass, the tiger demon is here. With Lu Yang's reminder, Meng Jingzhou and Man Ji stopped bickering and prepared themselves for battle. We've waited long enough for this beast. Lu Yang no longer suppressed his aura waves. His body shook, and he smashed through the mountain god statue. He wielded his Qingfeng sword, the sword's rays illuminating the whole temple. Chapter 45. Don't forget to use your Yutiao as a weapon. With one hand holding a sword in battle, Lu Yang's other hand grabbed hold of Qi Wu's neck and tossed him backward. Run! There's a door at the back. In the blink of an eye, Qi Wu had already been hurled 3 to 4 meters away. Just as he was about to crash to the ground, an invisible force emerged from beneath him, propping him up and setting him on the floor steadily. Thank you for saving me, Master Immortals. After expressing his gratitude, he immediately fled outside with Ayu and the rest without any hesitation. Although they weren't sure of Lu Yang's and the tiger demon's cultivation, they knew enough that when a cultivator battled, the surroundings would inevitably be implicated regardless of the outcome. As mere mortals, being an audience for even a moment bore a heavy price, either lying in bed for the rest of their lives or lying underneath the ground. The tiger demon's hair was pricked up, and the pattern on its forehead glowed faintly. Determined to rip Lu Yang into pieces, its attack became fiercer. I'm here to help you. The voices came from the other mountain god statues. One person held a scripture and looked like a refined scholar while the other was radiating from head to toe as if he was an enlightened monk who had forged a body of pure gold. Man Ji lifted the scripture in his hand but found it too light. He stowed it away and took out 2 copies of the Great Sha Dictionary from the front of his robes. It feels right. Since Man Ji was young, the education he had received was that the barbarian tribe was a warrior race. Weapons could take on any form, and anything could become one's weapon. One should use whatever felt handy. What felt the most handy to him now were books. Knowledge is power. With 2 dictionaries in his hand, he smashed them against the tiger demon's head as if he was holding 2 bricks. Even the tiger demon was dazed, having never seen such a weapon before. On the other hand, Meng Jingzhou needed no weapon, his body was the strongest weapon. Transforming into a golden figure, he charged at the tiger demon. The tiger henchman ghost standing behind the tiger demon let out a blood-curdling shriek as its body began to sizzle with smoke. The pure yang spirit root had exceptional effects toward ghosts and monsters. Scared out of his wits, the tiger henchman ghost no longer obeyed the tiger demon's orders as it fled the temple and vanished into the rain. Never had the tiger demon been this incensed. Although it didn't wish to engage in conflicts with cultivators, that didn't mean that it was scared of them. These brats don't know their place. I can easily tear them into pieces and escape somewhere else. Let's see who can find me then. Though it'll be a pity to leave behind Pine Mountain. This is a favorable place with good feng shui. With the thought crossing its mind, the tiger no longer held back. Its tail swept toward Lu Yang with a whoosh sound. Had Lu Yang continued to attack, only severe injuries would have awaited him. Swiftly coming to a decision, Lu Yang sheathed his sword and retreated. As the tiger's tail hit the ground, the whole temple shook. Their expressions turned grave. It has already produced the phantom of a golden core. When cultivators formed their golden core, it usually first manifested itself as a shadow. Only after the golden core solidified did they officially enter the golden core stage. The tiger demon in front of them was clearly in the process of forming its golden core, and its strength was remarkable. I am a mighty being at the half-step golden core stage, yet a bunch of foundation establishment brats dare to harm me. The sork of this content is freeweb. Oval. C. M. Half-step golden core. Lu Yang looked toward Meng Jingzhou. I've never heard Big Senior Sister mention this before. The ordinary Meng Jingzhou explained, it's when one hasn't formed their golden core but find themselves too amazing to be mentioned in the same breath as others at the foundation establishment stage. They forcibly push themselves to the golden core stage, but the ones truly at the golden core stage don't even give them a proper look in the eye, so they're quite pitiful. The kind man Ji Yu added, "It's normal for Brother Lu not to know. Our sect's senior disciples scoff at this concept. Why do you need a transition phase for solidification? Only plebeians do that. All the senior disciples formed their golden core directly." The honest Lu Yang looked at the tiger demon with pity. Pitiful, indeed. The tiger demon grew increasingly enraged, its eyes bloodshot. The cultivation stage 1 I'm so proud of is disparaged into nothing by these three fellows. And the worst part is that it's their genuine thoughts. They could have at least pretended. The tiger demon released its oppressive pressure, making the first move to suppress the trio. Unexpectedly, the three were completely not affected, and Lu Yang and Meng Jingzhou even sneered. "We have previously experienced the oppressive pressure of a great demon at the nascent soul stage who also possessed ancient dragon blood. How could we possibly be affected by you?" Nothing more needed to be said for Man Ji Yu. With the blood of the ancient barbarian tribe coursing in his veins, he feared no oppressive pressure. The ancient barbarian tribe was unbridled in ancient times because they had feared nothing. The emphasis was on being barbaric. The tiger demon gave up on mimicking how a human stood. It lowered its front limbs and crouched down until its jaw touched the ground, its eyes staring fixedly at the trio. Boom! The tiger demon pushed off with its hind legs, rocketing toward the trio like a cannonball. Lu Yang blocked with the Qingfeng sword in front of his chest, barely fending off the tiger demon's sharp claws. Only after he whirled around and stepped back did he manage to negate the tiger demon's forceful attack. This was unlike the confrontation with the painted skin ghost. The latter's strength lay in trickery, and offense wasn't its fortitude. Once its identity was exposed, victory would be within reach. However, the tiger demon was different. The demon race was known for their physical prowess and resilient bodies, not to mention that the tiger demon's cultivation was almost one main stage higher than the three of them. It was no easy feat for Lu Yang to be unscathed after blocking the attack with his sword. Meng Jingzhou and Man Ji Yu moved in to flank the tiger demon. However, talisman runes flickered within the tiger demon's blood, turning into a gust of wind that flew above the two and dealt them a powerful blow. Clouds follow dragons, winds follow tigers. The innate ability to manipulate wind elemental spells originated from his bloodline. In the air, Meng Jingzhou couldn't find leverage and met the tiger demon's palm head-on. Man Ji Yu protected himself with the dictionaries before his chest, and half of them were shredded by the tiger demon's claws. Lu Yang took the opportunity to unsheath his sword, thrusting it forward tenaciously. The sword was like a bolt of lightning, reaching the tiger demon in the blink of an eye. Despite stabbing multiple times, the tiger demon's skin was too thick to pierce through. The tiger demon was about to burst into laughter, mocking Lu Yang for overestimating himself and being unable to penetrate even his defense when multiple sword chi suddenly erupted from within its body, causing it to bleed profusely. They had pierced it from exactly the positions Lu Yang had stabbed, covert force sword chi. Lu Yang didn't even need to pierce through his opponent. All he had to do was to inject the sword chi into the other party's body. This was where demons fell short compared to physique cultivators. The former's tenacity was only on the surface, their internal organs and blood vessels were extremely fragile. The tiger demon retreated, not wanting to clash directly with Lu Yang's sword. However, Lu Yang didn't relent. After the tiger demon dodged his sword in his right hand, Lu Yang's left hand whipped out a yutiao, smacking it right on the tiger demon's head. Originally, the tiger demon could have evaded the strike, but when it saw its opponent only taking out a yutiao, it let down its guard and mocked Lu Yang for being a little kid who simply took out any toy he could find in desperation. And then he got smashed silly. What kind of yutiao is this? In the few seconds the tiger demon remained in a stupor, Meng Jingzhou transformed into a mountain, slamming right into the tiger demon's waist. The tiger demon might have seemed cunning and experienced, but it was full of flaws. Holding deep faith in its principle of avoiding fights, it would definitely flee if it could. Ever since it started cultivating, it had hardly exchanged blows with anyone. As the tiger demon staggered backward from the force, Man Ji Yu smashed at its eyes. The tiger demon hastily turned its head away and got hit in the cheek instead. Even a patch of its skin dropped off. The tiger demon instinctively swung its tail at Man Ji Yu. The latter stepped on the tail by following its momentum and was mostly unhurt. Lu Yang instantly struck with his sword several times and even used the Yutiao to supplement a few hits, forcing the tiger demon to keep retreating. Through this exchange, the trio ended up gaining the upper hand instead. The tiger demon realized that although his opponents might be young with low cultivation, they demonstrated formidable potential. That implied that they had a powerful backing, so the tiger demon began to consider retreating. However, the trio was not going to let the tiger demon escape. If they let the tiger return to the mountain, one who knew how many more people would become its victims. Don't go overboard with your bullying. The tiger demon roared in rage. The three could see that the tiger demon was prepared to fight to its death, and they secretly became more wary. The tiger demon's eyes widened. Acting on its backup plan, it roared until those outside could hear it. Wifey, someone wants to kill me. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 46, 10 Buffalo Strength Pill. Before the three of them could react, they heard the sound of trees collapsing amidst the rain, as if something was rushing toward them through the rain. Boom! The colossal being didn't reduce its speed, directly knocking down one of the mountain god temple's walls and putting the temple at risk of collapsing at any moment. A multicolored tiger that was one size smaller than the tiger demon stood in front of it. Although this tiger was smaller, it looked even more ferocious. There were 2 tigers on this mountain, one male and one female. This was something no one had anticipated. There was simply too little information on the demon beasts on Pine Mountain. Previously, it wasn't even certain if a demon was hiding there, let alone 2 of them. Wifey, let's take them on together, the male tiger demon proposed. The female tiger demon's ability was only slightly weaker, its cultivation at the advanced foundation establishment stage. With the 2 of them, it was confident of defeating the 3 humans. Good for nothing, the female tiger demon cursed under her breath, making the male tiger demon embarrassed. The 2 demons attacked simultaneously, and the trio immediately felt much more pressure. The male tiger demon bellowed, "Attack the one using a sword. He's the hardest to deal with." Meng Jingzhou was upset, charging straight to the front to amplify his presence. "What do you mean? Are you saying that he's better than me? I initially thought that you could at least make decent judgments, but I didn't expect you to not only be henpecked but also can't even tell the strength of your enemies apart. You are genuinely a disgrace to all demons. With such standards, you still dared to claim yourself king of the mountain. Look at my golden body. It's hard to the core and invincible in defense among cultivators at the same level. Don't tell me you can break through it." The tiger demon fell silent for a bit. "Attack the one who's radiating golden light. He's the most long-winded." Exerting their strength together, they sent Meng Jingzhou flying straight to the wall with his limbs all splayed out. The tiger demons scrunched up their brow, something felt amiss when they hit their opponent. At Meng Jingzhou's chest was a shattered Xiaobing. If one connected the pieces together, it would seem that a quarter was still missing, the part that Meng Jingzhou had eaten. To be honest, the taste was not bad. Just as Meng Jingzhou wanted to retaliate, a graceful cyan figure dashed into the temple. They clutched the old hunter by the neck and quickly chanted the rebirth requiem, causing the old hunter with the blood of countless on his hands to perish. It was the young woman who wanted to seek shelter from the rain earlier. The girl in cyan saw the 2 parties in an altercation and was slightly surprised to see Meng Jingzhou, who was still embedded in the wall. Upon hearing the commotion, she had hurried over to check out the situation and happened to bump into the old hunter, revealing his true colors. Without thinking, she grabbed the old hunter and ran over, not expecting things to be so lively. The tiger henchman ghost is an accomplice in the tiger demon's evil deeds, just like the idiom, being a henchman for a tiger. 1. Upon seeing the tiger demon and tiger henchman ghost, it was easy for her to figure out what had happened. Lu Yang from the Dao-seeking sect. Lu Yang quickly declared his identity. Lan Ting from the Moon Laurel Celestial Palace. The girl in green announced her name after exchanging glances with Lu Yang. She adjusted her stance, bracing herself for battle. As fellow members of the 5 great immortal sects, we should help one another. Lan Ting formed a hand seal, and flowing white silk sashes wrapped around her arms, floating behind her. Her movements were graceful like a fairy dancing in the Moon Palace, an enchanting sight to behold. Flashy but without substance. The female tiger demon held contempt for Lan Ting's techniques and charged right forward. I'm going to rip this hypocritic human into pieces. Lan Ting didn't speak. Lightly tapping the ground with her toes, she pressed 2 fingers together and pointed them at the female tiger demon. The white silk sashes tightened itself into a sword, aiming straight for the opponent's forehead. Despite taking a heavy blow right at the beginning, the female tiger demon remained unfazed and even mocked, just the basic foundation establishment stage. That said, the female tiger demon didn't dare to be careless. When battling with cultivators from large sects, one wrong move could result in demise. Although Lan Ting couldn't defeat the female tiger demon, she could hold her off and stall for time. Meanwhile, the trio from the Tao-seeking sect was once again plunged into a battle with the male tiger demon. Lu Yang's sword techniques were extremely cunning, making it a challenge for the tiger demon to defend against. At the same time, Man Ji-yu retrieved Meng Jingzhou from the wall, using him as a handy weapon and forcing the tiger demon to retreat repeatedly. As for Meng Jingzhou, as a weapon, he had no particular thoughts. The mark on the tiger demon's forehead glowed brighter as the blood of the fearsome beast Changqi too in him got stimulated. Sharp fangs and claws grew longer, and its aura felt even more savage. What kind of luck is this? To think that it actually has the Changqi bloodline. Lu Yang didn't know what to say. Why does this demon have so many cards hidden up its hair? Are we the unlucky ones or are all demons this capable? Lu Yang couldn't help but recall what Yunji had mentioned about the imminent arrival of the Great Era. When it dawned, all kinds of demons and monsters would emerge, vying for dominion over the central continent. Although the tiger demon's abilities were far from enough to join in the battle of the Great Era, its appearance could likely be a minor sign of the Great Era's arrival. After activating its Changqi blood, the tiger demon completely lost its reason, fighting based on raw instinct. Its eyes were bloodshot, and it went berserk, but its combat techniques improved dramatically instead. The barbarian tribe blood in Man Ji-yu seemed to have also been stimulated and began to awaken, allowing him to swing his weapon, Meng Jingzhou, around with even more strength. We can't drag this on any further, Lu Yang murmured. What if this tiger demon still has a trump card? We should end this as soon as possible. Flipping his palm, Lu Yang pulled out a golden pill. It was the pill he had redeemed in the Great Mission Hall after completing the mission with the painted skin ghost, the 10 buffalo strength pill. Consuming this pill could let one obtain the strength of 10 buffaloes. Although the people from the Pill Cauldron Peak concocted both poison and pills and were quite unreliable, the potency of their medicinal pills were never compromised. This pill definitely takes the throne among explosive-type pills. With the combination of my cultivation as a sword cultivator and the strength of 10 buffaloes, never mind if you're a tiger with a trace of the Changqi bloodline, I'll even dare fight a pure-blood Changqi. While Man Ji-yu and Meng Jingzhou joined hands to stall the male tiger demon, Lu Yang ingested the pill without hesitation. So hot. It burns. Swallowing the pill felt like swallowing a ball of fire that seared his stomach. Lu Yang shut his eyes, sensing the heat in his dantian. Power streamed out from within him continuously, forming lines on his skin. Man Ji-yu noticed Lu Yang's transformation. The latter was currently covered with red lines, almost coinciding with the barbarian tribe warriors that didn't even fear the heavens in the books Man Ji-yu had read. So strong. Even a dense person like Man Ji-yu could sense the power surging forth from Lu Yang. This power was definitely invincible among cultivators at the foundation establishment stage. The male tiger demon wanted to stop Lu Yang's transformation, but Man Ji-yu and Meng Jingzhou ensured he couldn't do so. Lu Yang opened his eyes, confusion flashing past them. His power did surge out, but it seemed like most of it was now outside, leaving hardly any left inside his body. The red lines extended from Lu Yang to the ground, forming a strange circular pattern. Thick smoke billowed from the ground, obscuring one's view. However, the smoke also dissipated quickly, revealing 10 water buffaloes before everyone's eyes. Impressively, all these 10 water buffaloes were at the foundation establishment stage. A question mark appeared above Lu Yang's head. Another question mark appeared above the male tiger demon's head. Everyone was stupefied by the sudden turn of events. To hell with your 10 buffalo strength pill. This isn't a pill for increasing one's own strength but a pill with a summoning array inside. The 10 water buffaloes seemed to know why Lu Yang had summoned them. They scraped their hooves against the ground and snorted with red eyes, charging mindlessly at the tiger demons. Chapter 47, Breaking Word Mantra. Pill Cauldron Peak. What is most important to us pill concocting masters is learning how to think out of the box. Pills don't necessarily have to boost the strength of the person who ingested it. One example is my version of the 10-bull strength pill. Wu Ming spoke with confidence in the Pill Cauldron Learning Hall, giving a complicated yet accessible lecture on the principles of pill concoction. The disciples below at their desks furiously took down notes, thinking to themselves, it's hard to hear these precious pill concoction principles in the outside world. Pill concocting masters in the outside world placed enormous emphasis on passing down a legacy. As the saying went, teach the disciple well and the Shifu starves. As such, learning the principles of pill concoction in the outside world was fraught with challenges. It was, however, different for Pill Cauldron Peak. They wished they could impart all of their knowledge, teaching the new junior disciples their own ideas without any other regard. The pill concocting masters in the outside world were particular about tradition and posited that the ways of the ancestors should not be changed. Hence, there were many challenges to letting the outside world understand the principles of pill concoction on Pill Cauldron Peak. Seeing his junior disciples listen to the lesson with rapt attention, Wu Ming was inwardly very delighted. The Tao-seeking sect's intake for this cohort didn't just include Lu Yang, Meng Jingzhou, Man Ji Yu, Dao Yaoye, and Li Haoran. It was simply because they had such remarkable talent and became the center of attention in the sect, causing others to subconsciously overlook the remaining new disciples. Apart from the 5 of them, there were many disciples who had a dual spirit root, triple spirit root, or unique skills. They would become the backbone of the Tao-seeking sect in the future. The disciples attending the class were those who had chosen to become disciples of the Pill Cauldron Peak. They had studied for more than a year but were still figuring out the way of pill concoction. Many cultivators have the habit of ingesting pills in the heat of battle to unleash strength several times their own. The sudden eruption of power can catch opponents off guard, thereby achieving victory. Victory may be a good thing in itself, but such a method causes the amplified strength to surge through the meridians. However, the meridians are only so wide, and this sudden force through the meridians can cause significant damage. In severe cases, it may even be detrimental to one's cultivation. As pill concocting masters, our responsibility is to treat illnesses and save lives, so we must try our best to prevent such situations from occurring. To achieve that end, I have researched painstakingly and visited a good friend specializing in summoning arrays. At long last, I invented this version of 10 buffalo strength pill. The pill contains a miniature summoning array. After one ingests it, it will use their body as a medium to summon 10 water buffaloes to aid them in battle. An adorable junior female disciple who had been listening intently asked, "Senior brother Wu, where did the water buffaloes come from?" Wu Ming smiled. "They're summoned from the spirit fields." The food served in the dining halls and restaurants were mostly grown from the Tao-seeking sect's own spirit fields. There were strict requirements to the soil, fertilizer, and farming methods to obtain such high-quality produce. The blue-eyed water buffaloes worked hard in tilling the spirit fields. They were an incredibly strong race and consisted of members from the Qi training to nascent soul stages. There was even an old buffalo king at the divine transfiguration stage, a truly terrifying force. When Third Elder was young, he got carried away by his fervor and shoved the buffaloes in the spirit fields away, plowing through the night. These were the buffaloes from the blue-eyed water buffalo race. The blue-eyed water buffaloes loved to lock horns with one another, so Wu Ming contacted them to see if they were willing to be summoned during battle. They readily agreed. As pill concocting masters, all of you have to be like me and put yourselves in the shoes of those consuming the pills. Think about why they want to ingest the pills, whether there are side effects, and if there is a better solution. Wu Ming had written a paper on his results from concocting the 10 buffalo strength pill and submitted his draft to the leading publication Pill Fire. The person in charge was flabbergasted by Wu Ming's out-of-the-box ideas and forwarded it to the leading publication in the field of summoning. And it was successfully published. Wu Ming was also aware of how ahead of his time his ideas were and that he needed to allow some time for cultivators to adjust, so he set a very low price for the Foundation Establishment 10 Bull Strength pill, only requiring 100 contribution points. To put that into perspective, even the Yutiao in the dining hall cost 150 contribution points. Wu Ming was also thorough in his consideration. He stated the effects of the pill on the redemption list. Ingesting this grants the strength of 10 buffaloes. Lu Yang fell into deep thought. Even if I say that this pill is fake, it does grant the person who consumes it the strength of 10 bulls. The description and its effects align perfectly. But if I say that this pill is real, it feels like there's something off about it. What exactly went wrong? I can't figure it out. The 10 Foundation Establishment water buffaloes were strong and sturdy. In an orderly fashion, they charged toward the tiger demon in a display of power. Faced against these fierce buffaloes, even if the half-step golden core tiger demon was at the golden core stage, it still wouldn't dare to take a hit from the herd. No matter how much the tiger demon's strength grew, it was still not a match for the buffalo demons. Lu Yang couldn't help but be reminded of the saying again. Although the pill Cauldron Peak isn't reliable, they have never gone wrong with their pill's potency. The summoned 10 buffaloes can definitely defeat the tiger demon. Man Ji Yu and Meng Jingzhou subconsciously relaxed. The outcome was already determined, the tiger demon couldn't turn the tide. With its eyes widened and hair bristling, it seemed that the tiger demon also knew that it couldn't defeat the 10 water buffaloes. If that's the case, then I'll drag someone down with me. Just then, a loud crash reverberated through the air. The mountain god temple had collapsed. The temple was originally on the brink of collapsing, and the herd of 10 water buffaloes took it down with one hit. For a while, the smoke and pouring rain blended together, obscuring everyone's view. The tiger demon seized this opportunity, leaping high up and dodging the buffaloes, attacking springing right towards Lu Yang as swift as lightning. This human must die. As the water buffaloes were cumbersome and not adept at jumping, they couldn't react in time. Man Ji Yu and Meng Jingzhou cried out in shock. They had let down their guard and didn't have enough time to save Lu Yang. Everyone except Lu Yang was panic-stricken. He remained composed as he had long guessed that the tiger demon would fight to the death and take himself down with it. After all, a cornered beast is the most dangerous. Lu Yang didn't dodge. Instead, he used the spell, to inches, shrinking himself and the sword. The tiger demon missed, and Lu Yang appeared directly below it. He returned to his original size, and the cyan spirit energy in his sword concentrated at its tip. Break. Lu Yang unleashed the breaking word mantra. His sharp Qingfeng sword was unstoppable, piercing through the tiger demon's thick hair and right into its abdomen with a squelch. The tip of the sword was covered in blood as it emerged from the other side of the tiger demon. This was a sword technique he had learned at Heaven's Gate Peak. Among all sword techniques, this possessed the strongest offense. Just this one blow drained half of his spirit energy. It was to be used with discretion. During the battle earlier, Lu Yang had already identified the tiger demon's weakness, only the center of its abdomen had the weakest defense. Releasing the azure sword chi as fine as buffalo hair, they bloomed within the tiger demon's body like countless long needles piercing through it. Crackling sounds like fireworks echoed from within the tiger demon, trailing up its spine and rushing toward the top of its head. With blood flowing from its 7 orifices, the tiger demon fell to the ground. Exhausted and panting, Lu Yang leaned against the wall and signaled for Man Ji Yu and Meng Jingzhou to assist Lan Ting in finishing off the remaining demon. Upon seeing her husband dead, the female tiger demon became even more ferocious, intent on fighting to the death. Lan Ting could barely suppress this cornered beast. Before Man Ji Yu and Meng Jingzhou joined in the new battle, the water buffaloes turned to charge toward the female tiger demon. Unable to dodge in time, the female tiger demon was trampled into a bloody mess. The battle was over. Lan Ting's jaw dropped and was reminded of the strange rumors her senior sisters had mentioned about the Tao-seeking sect. Initially skeptical, she now believed 7/10 of it. Chapter 48, Lair. Seeing that the battle was over and that their mission was complete, the 10 water buffaloes vanished into thin air, returning to the spirit fields. How are you feeling? Can you stand? Man Ji Yu asked in concern. He was fully impressed by Lu Yang's decisive blue sword strike. Although he and Meng Jingzhou had played an assistive role and injured the tiger demon, Man Ji Yu suspected that even without their help, Lu Yang's sword alone could still have slain the tiger demon. Lu Yang swallowed a packet of qi restoration powder, and his breathing soon returned to normal, though his speed of recovery was much faster than what a few doses of Qi restoration powder were capable of. I should have bought Qi restoration pills instead. This Qi restoration powder is so dry, Lu Yang grumbled under his breath. Activating the water condensation mantra, a tiny ball of water appeared at Lu Yang's fingertips and extended into a 2-finger-wide stream, entering his mouth. Did you just use size at will? Meng Jingzhou had noticed Lu Yang suddenly becoming small and large again. He found this technique to be very similar to the technique size at will an uncle in his clan displayed. However, based on what he knew, this spell was extremely hard to execute and had a high barrier to entry. One must minimally be at the golden core stage to master it. Something roughly similar. What I used was the spell, 2 inches. The source of this content is freeweb. Oval. C.M. 2 inches. Meng Jingzhou's head was full of question marks. As a member of the Meng family, he had heard nearly every spell, but he was totally unfamiliar with this one. Could it be an exclusive spell created by Big Senior Sister Yunji? That would make sense. Greetings, fellow Taoists, I am Lan Ting. Lan Ting walked over gracefully. All 3 of us are disciples of the Tao-seeking sect. This is Meng Jingzhou and this is Man Ji Yu. Due to the urgency of the situation earlier on, Lu Yang had only managed to introduce himself. Nice to meet you, fellow Taoist Meng and fellow Taoist Man. It was clear that Lan Ting carried herself well and was polite to everyone. Even when she ran into Qi Wu and the rest, she didn't chase them out just so that she could seek shelter from the rain in the mountain god temple. Much thanks for lending a hand, fellow Taoist Lan Ting. It was a headache dealing with the 2 tiger demons attacking together, and we might even have failed the mission. Lu Yang expressed his gratitude. There were just words out of courtesy. In fact, the 3 of them still had a trump card. So this was your mission. Lan Ting didn't say more. She had also descended the mountain to complete a secret mission. However, she was unfamiliar with the area. She didn't leave the mountain during the day, and when it was night, she encountered the rain. While finding a place to stay for the night, she had stumbled across this whole situation. I know a bit of talisman rune techniques. The hides of these 2 tiger demons look decent. Would you be willing to part with them and let me have them? Of course, Lu Yang replied with a smile. What else do you need, fellow Taoist Lan Ting? Feel free to take them away. The tiger hides were indeed worth much money, but they still couldn't be compared to Lan Ting's aid. Lan Ting shook her head, not making any further requests. Having grown up in the wild with his parents, Man Ji Yu was no stranger to skinning. With 2 fingers pressed together, they became even sharper than a butcher's knife. In a few moves, he has already skinned the 2 tiger hides whole. After accepting the tiger hides, Lan Ting bid goodbye to the trio and disappeared into the mountain forest. Her senior sisters had advised her to be cautious about approaching those from the Tao-seeking sect until she was mentally stronger to avoid being influenced by them. Jingzhou, do you want the tiger bones and tiger whip? 1. Meng Jingzhou was befuddled. What would I do with those? Lu Yang grinned mischievously. To boost your yang, of course. Get lost. With my pure yang spirit root, why would I still need to boost my yang? How can my body possibly take it if I still try to do so? Make sure to take good care of these 2 tiger demons, they're crucial evidence of us completing the mission. Lu Yang took out his jade pendant and brushed it with his thumb, absorbing the corpses inside. The jade pendant could also function similarly to a storage ring. Let's go. The female tiger demon made quite a commotion when it came over, knocking down several trees. We can follow its trail and head in the opposite direction, we should be able to find their lair. Having occupied Pine Mountain for many years, the tiger demons certainly had a lair. The torrential rain didn't affect them, any rain-repelling chant did its work. The 3 of them ambled along the fallen trees and shattered boulders, soon finding the tiger demon's lair. The cave was 3 meters tall and was pitch black inside. Anyone bring a torch? Man Ji Yu asked. We can't see anything inside the cave. Who knows if there are some traps? He had read in books that mysterious and eerie caves were ideal for installing traps and mechanisms. One might accidentally step onto a brick, and arrows from both walls would turn the person into a porcupine. It was also possible for a sudden gust of poisonous gas to kill them. If not, rolling boulders could crush people to death. Who would set so many traps and mechanisms in their home? Are they worried that it's too convenient to go home? Lu Yang didn't know how else to respond. He felt that Mangu's thoughts often wandered off in strange directions. That said, a torch was necessary to create the atmosphere of an adventure. Just imagine. As the rain pelts down outside the cave, the three people in the cave discover treasures while holding torches. Just thinking about this atmosphere is so exciting. Who would bring a torch for no reason? Meng Jingzhou ridiculed. Why would one use torches when there's fire manipulation techniques? Think outside the box. Lu Yang whipped out a Yutiao and lit it with a spark. The whole Yutiao ignited. It looked like the Yutiao torch could last quite a while. Lu Yang held the blazing Yutiao, not afraid of being burned. In fact, he was even pleased with himself. The things from the dining hall are really useful. Not only can they be eaten and used in combat, they can even be used as torches. Man Ji Yu was enlightened. As I thought, I can learn new things by following Brother Lu. Lu Yang took the lead, holding the Yutiao torch up high, while Man Ji Yu and Meng Jingzhou followed behind. There were no traps from Mangu's imagination. There was only a wild beast's lair. And rare treasures from traveling merchants, classic texts from scholars, martial arts secret manuals from martial artists. They didn't have to hand this over to the sect, they were considered their spoils of war. Jewels and antiques. As Meng Jingzhou had the most extensive knowledge, they let him take on the task of identifying the origins of the items. Teacups from 100 years ago, they're not worth much. For cultivators, 100 years was but a blink of an eye. Even a random item from his house could be more than 100 years old. In the cultivation world, antiques were almost worthless. Only mortals cared for them. A rusty metal knife. Why did the tiger demons keep this? To sharpen their teeth. Meng Jingzhou shook his head. Lu Yang thought to himself, don't underestimate a rusty knife. Believe it or not, one cut could give you tetanus. Animal form fist. Isn't this a type of folk martial art that mimics animals? Meng Jingzhou flipped through a few pages but wasn't interested and tossed it to Lu Yang. The latter was somewhat interested and decided to practice it when he had the time. Words of sages. Meng Jingzhou snorted. What use is there for two beasts to hold on to this book? Weren't they still beasts? Words of Sages was an introductory book for Confucian cultivators, recording the sages' earnest teachings. Man Ji Yu had memorized the contents by heart and possessed a deep understanding. He stowed away the book, not because it was particularly valuable but because of its special status. I should store it properly to show respect to the sages. There's a letter here. It's addressed to the tiger demons. Chapter 49, Diabolic Creed. Who would write a letter to the tiger demons? Haven't they been hiding from the cultivators so that their whereabouts are unknown? The three of them couldn't make sense of it. Considering how cautious the tiger demons were, there shouldn't be anyone outside the mountain aware of their existence. Why don't you read out what the letter says? Meng Jingzhou cleared his throat, reading out loud with an infectious tone. Brother Tiger, it's been a while. How have you been? You have been prudent and unwilling to show yourself, only targeting mortals so that cultivators from the righteous path aren't aware of your existence. Your cautious approach is admirable, but cultivating like this is ultimately too slow. With the Great Era imminent, factions are beginning to emerge and vie for supremacy, and various parties are eyeing the central continent. Didn't you also seize this opportunity to leave your old home in the Demon region, break free from the Chongqi lineage, and thus infiltrate Pine Mountain? Being careful, don't push me. I'm already reading it for you. Lu Yang and Man Ji Yu sandwiched Meng Jingzhou in the middle so that they could directly see the contents of the letter. You read too slow. I'll read faster, you two move aside. Meng Jingzhou pushed the two away and continued reading. Being careful may not be a major problem in itself, but in this recovering world, one must be bold to grab hold of fortuitous opportunities. Take a leap of faith, refine your bloodline, and transform into a pure-blood Chongqi. Only then would you have a place in this great era. May I boldly suggest that you and your wife join me in the Yanjiang branch. We shall hunt cultivators as prey and plot great deeds together. This envelope contains a token from me. You can come to Yanjiang branch and use the token to look for me. I can recommend you to become an administrator directly. Humble regards, Qin Yuanao. The letter was not long but revealed much critical information. Lu Yang analyzed. The letter mentioned that the tiger demons didn't want to let cultivators of the righteous path know of their existence, but this doesn't align with what people would normally say. Most people wouldn't directly say, cultivators from the righteous path, unless the writer of this letter takes the opposite side. Could this Qin Yuanao be a cultivator from the diabolic path? That would also explain why there were cultivators who knew about the tiger demons but didn't report it. On the central continent, the righteous path held an absolute advantage, so demons, devils, and ghosts were natural allies. With the tiger demons as an example, they wouldn't directly attack people but instead get tiger henchmen ghosts to lure them over. Not only did the male tiger demon possess the Chongqi bloodline, it was also at the golden core stage. It only made sense for the diabolic path cultivators to attempt winning it over to their side. The most up-to-date novels are published on Father E. Webno. L.O. If that's the case, is Yanjiang branch a diabolic creed's base? Meng Jingzhou nodded. Diabolic creeds like to name their bases based on their location. It's just that we don't know which diabolic creed Yanjiang branch belongs to. Similar to how righteous path cultivators had the 5 great immortal sects, diabolic path cultivators had the 4 great diabolic creeds. Diabolic creeds were cults and not sects. The greatest difference was whether they worshipped a powerful entity. The 4 great diabolic creeds held different faiths. Some claimed that their beliefs represented 4 immortals while others said that they were simply 4 different incarnations of an immortal. There was no consensus. The diabolic creeds hardly revealed anything to the outside world, and their whereabouts were elusive. The Great Xia dynasty and the 5 great immortal sects had collaborated on multiple occasions but still failed to locate the headquarters of the diabolic creeds. Whenever righteous cultivators weeded out a large area of the diabolic creed's bases, members of the diabolic creeds would pop up again like bamboo shoots growing after a rain. There was no end to killing them. Although the diabolic creeds were said to be mysterious, using strange and ruthless methods and instilling fear in people's hearts, it was ultimately because the righteous path was too strong. As such, the diabolic creeds didn't dare to reveal themselves, resorting to playing tricks and operating from the shadows. Anyone who could find the diabolic creed's main lair didn't even need to ask the 5 great immortal sects to intervene. The Great Xia dynasty could just dispatch soldiers and turn the diabolic creeds inside out in just 5 days and eliminate all their bases in a month. This was the confidence of the righteous path. The diabolic creeds were still unpresentable and not up to standards. Lu Yang shook the envelope, revealing a bone tablet. A special true qi still lingered on it, left behind by the diabolic creed member, Qin Yuanao. Outsiders couldn't imitate it. Man Ji Yu wondered, can we use this tablet to join the diabolic creeds? Locating a diabolic creed's base was a major achievement, much more valuable than annihilating 2 tiger demons. Lu Yang shook his head. No, if we use this tablet to join the Yanjiang branch, Qin Yuanao will definitely find out. Besides, we don't know where the Yanjiang branch is. How are we going to join them? What should we do then? Man Ji Yu asked. Since they're called Yanjiang branch, they should be in Yanjiang commandery. We can go to Yanjiang commandery and inquire if there is someone called Qin Yuanao. We'll follow him and find Yanjiang branch. Since he addressed himself humbly before the tiger demon, his cultivation shouldn't be higher than that of the tiger demon, so we can get rid of him. That way, we can directly use the tablet and say that we are old friends of Qin Yuanao. We came to seek him out, not expecting that he had died. Good idea. Meng Jingzhou's and Man Gu's eyes lit up. Rummage through the place once more, see if we can find any other good stuff. Lu Yang excitedly urged Meng Jingzhou to get to work. Meng Jingzhou came across a blood-red grass. It was the size of his palm and looked a little demonic. Why does the blue blood grass have red veins? Meng Jingzhou was bewildered. The primary use of blue blood is detoxification, and its veins are cyan and resemble flowing rivers. Why is this particular one red? Lu Yang crouched down to examine it. Have you forgotten? The primary use of blue blood grass for humans may be a key ingredient in detoxification pills, but that isn't the case for demons. As blue blood grass has the effect of refining blood, the tiger demon could have been using its blood on the blood blue grass for a long time so that it'd mature and become accustomed to the Chongqi bloodline. It looks like it'll take a few more months for the blue blood grass to become completely ripe. After the tiger demon consumes it, its Changqi bloodline will be even more refined, and it can seize this opportunity to form its golden core. That was how the term, blood, in its name came about. Lu Yang had learned about the blue blood grass from the little herb kings. He continued, now that this blue blood grass can no longer be concocted into detoxification pills, it can only allow demons to purify their blood when ingested. Quote, in that case, you can stow it away and sell it during the sect's market on the 15th of every month. It should be able to fetch a good price. Meng Jingzhou passed the herb to Lu Yang and Man Jiyu. As there was a sizable number of people in the sect who raised demon beasts, herbs that could improve their bloodline had quite a demand. Lu Yang and Man Jiyu kept declining the blue blood grass and offered it to the other party in an exchange of courtesy. In the end, Man Jiyu couldn't beat Lu Yang in terms of politeness and accepted the blue blood grass. Meng Jingzhou reminded Man Jiyu, don't eat the blue blood grass. The ancient barbarian tribe is a branch of humans, the herb has no use on your bloodline. Oh, Man Jiyu responded in pity. Legend said that the ancient barbarian tribe originated from a romantic marriage proposal. In ancient times, humans still lived in scattered tribes. The strongest person in the tribe would be called a warrior. One day, two tribes met. A male warrior from one of the tribes took a liking to a female warrior from the other tribe and proposed to her. Hey girlie, smile for me. If you make me happy, I'll marry you. The female warrior laughed mischievously, raising a rock and swinging it back. The two became entangled in a brawl. Finally, the female warrior prevailed and dragged the male warrior into a room. It was a sleepless night. 10 months later, the first barbarian tribe fighter was born. Chapter 50. What did the sages say again? Meng Jingzhou came across a piece of old tiger hide that looked like it had 100 years of history. However, it was well preserved, the tiny and dense characters still clearly visible on its surface. Lu Yang and Man Jiyu curiously craned their necks, but they didn't recognize the characters. This is the demon script, characters from the demon tribes, Meng Jingzhou explained. The fox tribe is innately licentious, and it was also reflected in their writing. They often wrote some unhealthy books. If someone did some indescribable acts with these books, the author would be able to collect a trace of yang energy. Therefore, most unhealthy books circulating in the central continent were written by the fox tribe. When Meng Jingzhou was young, he was obsessed with such books. However, he didn't know what the indescribable things were back then. He simply found the books enjoyable. In order to read their original versions, he specially learned the demon script. You're so fond of learning. Lu Yang and Man Jiyu were surprised. Cultivation could enhance one's memory, so learning a language wouldn't take much time. However, the thing was that Meng Jingzhou had already learned the demon script before cultivating. That made it very impressive. Meng Jingzhou didn't wish to explain the deeper reason, simply stating that he had some interest in demon culture. Man Jiyu thought, as expected of brother Meng. He works hard but doesn't boast. His humility and noble character are worth learning. What's written on the tiger hide? Let me take a look. Ghost beings, with yin and without yang, this is a method to command ghost servants. Meng Jingzhou swiftly skimmed through it and did some mental calculations, soon deducing the purpose. The old hunter was probably created this way. There are also requirements for creating ghost beings. The cultivation must be two main stages apart, but mortals are an exception. After one reaches level 7 Qi training, they can use the souls of mortals. The technique for commanding ghost servants was very impractical. One could only refine someone 2 stages lower than themselves. Even if a ghost servant was created, it was unlikely for it to be effective in battle. Take the recent battle with the tiger demons. Had the ghost servant appeared, it'd probably have been even less useful than cannon fodder. Do you need me to translate all of it? This thing doesn't seem to be limited to race. Humans can also cultivate this, but the results are better for tiger demons. Man Jiyu was about to question the usefulness of this technique when Lu Yang analyzed, if we join a diabolic creed, we can't run away from diabolic methods. This ghost servant commanding technique is best for putting up a facade. There are also ready tiger henchmen ghosts at the old hunter's place. Translate the technique on the tiger hide so that all 3 of us can learn. Lu Yang's original plan was to eliminate the tiger henchman ghosts. Now that the situation had changed, it wouldn't be too late to make use of the tiger henchman ghosts first before dispelling their souls. According to what the tiger demon implied, the tiger henchman ghosts were willing to become ghost servants after dying and harm the travelers. They deserved to die. All right, Meng Jingzhou agreed. He laid out some paper and ground the ink. With rapid strokes of the brush, he soon wrote down the ghost servant commanding technique. I won't be cultivating it. I have a pure yang spirit root. When ghosts see me, it's like snow seeing the sun. I can't practice this kind of pure yin spell. Lu Yang and Man Ji-yu spoke no further and began to cultivate together. Not long after, a cold breeze blew inside the cave followed by the faint wails of ghosts, bringing chills that seeped into the bones. Lu Yang felt his body becoming lighter. His feet left the ground and he floated in the air like a ghost. He felt like he had never been this awake before. His senses were sharp, detecting any minute details in his surroundings. He even felt that Meng Jingzhou seemed like a blazing ball of fire. What's going on? Lu Yang wondered. Lowering his head, he realized that he was still sitting cross-legged at where he was. Hold on, it's not that I can fly, it's because my soul has left my body. Meng Jingzhou sensed something amiss with Lu Yang and shouted in alarm. Only those at the nascent soul stage can have their souls leave the body and wander across distances. Why can you do it now? Quick, get back. You're only at the foundation establishment stage and haven't cultivated your soul. It's easy for your soul to get damaged, and if it does, it'd be hard to repair it. Lu Yang also realized the gravity of the situation. He used the ghost servant commanding mantra, and his soul returned to normal. How did you do that? Meng Jingzhou hadn't heard of anyone who dared to let their soul leave their body when they were at the foundation establishment stage. There wasn't even such a technique. Lu Yang was also perplexed. I just cultivated according to what you wrote. I thought that I had understood it completely and I didn't see any problems, so I figured I'd try it out to see what it's like, and then it ended up like this. Meng Jingzhou looked at Lu Yang with a strange expression. Could it be that you treated your own soul as a ghost servant and commanded yourself? I haven't heard of such a way to practice, but based on the current situation, this seems like the only explanation. Lu Yang pondered a bit more but also couldn't think of other possibilities. He told Meng Jingzhou to stand further away. Despite trying a few more times, the outcome was the same. Lu Yang's soul would leave his body. What's up with my talent in spells? Out of options, the two could only wait for Man Ji-yu to wake up so that they could ask him whether his situation was similar to Lu Yang's. When Man Ji-yu woke up, he saw Lu Yang and Meng Jingzhou staring expectantly at himself, leaving him utterly confused. Have you learned the ghost servant commanding technique? I have learned a little. I should be able to command 8 mortal souls. Can you command yourself and let your soul leave your body? Lu Yang looked at Man Ji-yu eagerly, wishing that Man Ji-yu would say yes so that it would prove that he didn't practice it wrong. Man Ji-yu was even more baffled. How is that possible? This is a ghost servant commanding technique. Don't tell me that we can treat our soul as a ghost servant and command it. Meng Jingzhou glanced at Lu Yang and recounted the latter's learning journey, leaving Man Ji-yu in awe. Brother Lu is quick-witted and has unparalleled talent in learning spells while Brother Meng is brilliant and well-read. He had learned many things throughout this journey, as if they were words that had been uttered by the sages. What did the sages say again? Oh right. A sage once said, in a company of 3, everyone is my teacher. 1. We should go look for the tiger henchman ghosts. With nothing much else left in the cave, Meng Jingzhou beckoned his companions to leave. You two can leave first. I have to settle a bit of something, I'll catch up afterward. Lu Yang told Meng Jingzhou and Man Ji-yu to depart first. The two didn't think much of it and left the tiger's den. After confirming that the two had left, Lu Yang's smile faded, and his expression became calm once more. He walked to the depths of the cave and saw a small mountain of bones, gently sighing, it's indeed here. When Lu Yang saw the various items, he had already guessed that based on the tiger demon's cautious character, he surely wouldn't throw the bones outside after eating someone. That would expose itself too easily. The safe course of action would be to leave the remains in the cave. Reality also corroborated his theory. These pitiful people were deceived and devoured when passing by Pine Mountain. They came from different places and were here for sundry of reasons. However, all of their final resting places ended up in this tiny cave. Lu Yang didn't say anything more. The Qingfeng sword effortlessly sliced off a huge rock from the cliff. After smoothing out the rock, he silently recited the rebirth requiem and erected a tombstone for these pitiful people. He fell quiet and became lost in thought for a moment before turning around to leave. Thanks for waiting, let's go, Lu Yang called out to his companions, ready to leave this bleak place. Check out our playlist for more amazing novels. Continue. Chapter 51, Forgotten Something. Back when Chi Wu first found the old hunter, there were also a few households in the vicinity. They might have appeared normal, but in fact, they were all tiger henchmen ghosts in disguise. After the tiger demons were brought to justice, the tiger henchmen ghosts were at a loss. Some suggested to leave the mountain, while others said to continue hiding in the mountains, but there was no consensus. Just as they were about to break into an argument, Lu Yang's group appeared and captured them all. Meng Jingzhou let out a sliver of pure yang energy, causing the tiger henchmen ghosts to squirm on the ground and wail in agony. We don't have to leave so many alive. Only 2 will be enough to pose as diabolic cultivators, Lu Yang stated coldly. There is no need to sympathize with these tiger henchmen ghosts who acted as accomplices to the tiger demons in their evil deeds. They became tiger henchmen ghosts only because they agreed to the tiger demons' request. They deserve to die. Lu Yang tried a few times but was still unable to take in a ghost servant, so he could only let his soul leave his body. Man Ji Yu, we're counting on you. Man Ji Yu didn't say anything, simply leaving behind 2 tiger henchmen ghosts who were originally travelers while killing the rest swiftly. Using tiger henchmen ghosts transformed from hunters might raise the diabolic creed's suspicion and cause them to guess that they had been obtained from the tiger demon after killing it. The risk would be much smaller with travelers. Return. Man Ji Yu absorbed 1 male and 1 female traveler tiger henchman ghosts into his body. This was also a part of ghost commanding techniques, absorbing the ghost into one's body and summoning them again in battle. When the 3 of them headed to Yanjiang County, they bumped into Chiwu and the others. They were still going around in circles in the mountain forest. As it was still raining and they didn't know the way, they naturally couldn't find the path down the mountain. Benefactors. Chiwu and the rest were overjoyed to see the trio who they viewed as their lifeline. Benefactors, we won't forget your great favor and kindness. The mountain god has shown their power. We are forever indebted to you. All of them showered words of gratitude at the trio with overflowing sincerity. Seeing the people they had rescued and hearing their heartfelt gratitude, the gloomy haze in Lu Yang's heart slowly dissipated. He stopped thinking about the bones and corpses in the caves. As cultivators, we ought to follow the righteous path. There's no need for thanks, Meng Jingzhou expressed his stance solemnly. It is only right for me to save people, I'm not doing it to receive others' gratitude. Man Ji Yu observed Meng Jingzhou's righteous visage. As expected of my role model, staying calm and collected in all situations, that's not something I can achieve. Even without looking at Meng Jingzhou, Lu Yang could tell that the latter was just pretending. There's probably a flower blooming from joy in his heart right now. And why did Lu Yang know that? It was because he, too, was wearing a righteous expression. After sending the traveling merchants to Yanjiang County, the sky was already starting to turn bright. The tempest ravaging the whole night finally stopped, and a faint rainbow arched across the horizon. By the way, did we forget something? Meng Jingzhou couldn't brush off the feeling that he had forgotten something. Probably not. Lu Yang counted the number of people. There's 3 people, there's 3 brains. We didn't forget anything. I just keep feeling like we're missing something. Never mind, I shall not think about it anymore. In Qinghai County, a carriage was parked in the backyard of an inn. An old horse was slowly nibbling on the feed left by Meng Jingzhou. Why hasn't that young fellow from the Meng family come to fetch me? The feed won't last more than a few days. What happened to finishing the mission in 5 to 6 days? As an aberrant demon beast, the old horse naturally couldn't consume normal feed like ordinary horses. It always ate expensive feed bought by Meng Jingzhou since they were meticulously prepared and infused with spirit energy. The old horse snorted and puckered its lips, feeling very bored. That was when it suddenly caught sight of a snow-white female horse next door. After entering the city, the trio randomly chose a tea house and ordered a pot of tea with a few plates of pastries as they planned their next move. Yanjiang Commandery is so big. How are we going to find this Qin Yuan now? Do we get the local authorities to help? Man Ji Yu knitted his brow. Yanjiang Commandery was not a major cultivation hub. Compared to other commanderies, its population was also ranked at the bottom, and it was inconspicuous on the map, even missing from less detailed maps. Nonetheless, it was still a commandery with a population of 2 million people. Finding someone was akin to searching for a needle in a haystack. Lu Yang waved his hand. Not a good idea. We don't know how long the diabolic creed has hidden in this place, and there is likely a complex web of forces behind them, possibly including the local authorities. Man Ji Yu didn't understand what Lu Yang was getting at. Doesn't everyone want to exterminate the diabolic creeds? Why would the authorities help them? Lu Yang didn't have to answer. Meng Jingzhou was most familiar in such aspects. It's precisely because everyone wants to exterminate them that the Great Xia dynasty has added a key performance indicator, slain devil count. Basically, the more devils one eradicates, the higher their cultivation and the better their political track record becomes. Think about it, diabolic creeds could simply strike a deal with the commandery governor. They would provide devils to the commandery governor regularly while the commandery governor would agree not to reveal the diabolic creed's location. What Meng Jingzhou had shared was not just a story, they were facts that he had personally heard from the seniors who were officials in his family. Despite the Xia emperor executing them batch after batch, there were still some who slipped through the net. Some people in court had also proposed removing this performance metric, but it was stopped by the prime minister. With the performance indicator in place, most officials would assiduously eliminate those from the diabolic path, though a minority still colluded with the diabolic creeds. However, with the performance metric removed, it would be hard to determine how many officials would still be willing to invest the efforts in tracking down traces of the diabolic creeds. All in all, this evaluation indicator did more good than harm. Man Ji Yu felt like Meng Jingzhou's words had completely overturned his understanding of the world. He had never thought about such matters before. Lu Yang chimed in, the probability of the commandery governor being in league with the diabolic creed is low, but we should still prepare for the worst. If they are really in cahoots and we reveal our intentions in coming here, the commandery governor would hand over Qin Yuanao to avoid detection. However, if the whole Yanjiang branch gets wind of it, they would go into hiding, causing us to miss our chance to infiltrate the diabolic creed. That will be penny wise, pound foolish, and not at all ideal. Our best bet for now is to keep our identities hidden and search for Qin Yuanao first. If we really can't find him, it wouldn't be too late to ask the authorities for help then. Man Ji Yu nodded, feeling that both of them made sense. How should we draw Qin Yuanao out? Many ideas flashed past Man Gu's mind, but he found noticeable flaws in all of them. Posting flyers or notices definitely won't work, that's too obvious. Inquiring at the black market. If Qin Yuanao learns that someone is looking into him, he'll hide himself. Who knows if he'll even lead the members of the diabolic creed to ambush us. We'll be at their mercy then. That won't work. I wonder what brilliant ideas Brother Lu and Brother Meng have. Lu Yang had already thought of a plan when they were on their way down the mountain. He laughed mischievously. Do you know that unlike us righteous sects, these people who roam the Jianghu care about their face the most, especially people from diabolic creeds. They see their face as their status. If someone causes a blow to their reputation, it's even more unbearable than killing them. That's why we must widely spread rumors that Qin Yuanao is a kind person who doesn't work but does good deeds. Once this spreads throughout the whole of Yanjiang Commandery, the members of the diabolic creed would think that Qin Yuanao is a good guy. Qin Yuanao will feel that he has lost face and won't be able to resist coming out. And that would be our chance. Meng Jingzhou summarized it succinctly, basically, we make things up and spread rumors. Coincidentally, Meng Jingzhou was a natural in doing so. Man Ji Yu suddenly saw the light. This is a really good idea. If we can't find Qin Yuanao, we'll just force him out. But what did he mean by, unlike us righteous sects? Chapter 52, Who are you scolding to be a good guy? Inside a small tavern, a drinker was speaking loudly, drawing the attention of many. Have you heard? A righteous hero has emerged from our commandery. His name is Qin Yuanao, and even those from the 5 great immortal sects are impressed by his deeds. The corners of Lu Yang's eyes rose upward, looking especially excited, as if he had some interesting news to share with everyone. Really? Why haven't I heard of this person? I vaguely remember the name, but he doesn't seem to be a good person. Stop arguing, let this brother here tell us what's up with Qin Yuanao. Lu Yang paused for a bit before continuing. This hero named Qin Yuanao has considerable cultivation and is at the foundation establishment stage. He stands up for justice and has an extensive network of friends. Everyone who knows him is willing to call him Big Brother. Hearing that Qin Yuanao was at the foundation establishment stage, the patrons' eyes lit up. This was certainly news for them. In the past, they would hear rumors about the Zhonghu, how impressive the top-rank Wulin experts were and how thrilling their experiences were. Although they all sounded remarkable and exciting when listening to the stories, after calming down, they knew deep down that the top-rank Wulin experts weren't actually very powerful. The consensus was that the top-rank Wulin experts corresponded to level 8 to level 9 of the Qi training stage. That was the limit for them. Now that there were rumors of a foundation establishment expert, they naturally wanted to hear all about it. That would give them something to boast about in the future. Let me tell you about that one day when Qin Yuanao and his close friend went to an auction. His close friend took a liking to a treasure and asked Qin Yuanao to lend him several thousands of low-grade spirit stones. Qin Yuanao laughed out loud and said, "With the relationship we have, talking about money is too vulgar. Just take these 8,000 low-grade spirit stones, no need to pay me back." His close friend was extremely touched. 8,000 low-grade spirit stones. A passerby called Meng Jingzhou exclaimed. Spirit stones are the currency of the cultivation world. 8,000 low-grade spirit stones is enough to buy a big mansion in the county center with gorgeous maidservants for life. Only with the aid of Meng Jingzhou's explanation did the patrons understand the value of 8,000 low-grade spirit stones. This person called Qin Yuanao is so generous. He could give away those spirit stones just like that. After his close friend won the bid for that treasure, he became the target of another bidder who was a diabolic cultivator. The latter successfully ambushed Qin Yuanao and his good friend. As his good friend was unwilling to part with the treasure, he struggled vigorously, but the diabolic cultivator killed him and stole the treasure. When Qin Yuanao wanted to give chase, unfortunately, the diabolic cultivator had already fled. Lu Yang stopped and pointed at his throat. Understanding his gesture, the patrons offered him drinks. He sipped from a cup of grain wine and proceeded with his story. Before his good friend died, he entrusted his wife and daughter to Qin Yuanao. With tears welling up in his eyes, Qin Yuanao promised to take good care of them. The mother and daughter were rare beauties. The mother bore an ageless appearance and had a graceful figure, while the daughter was cheerful, adorable, and playfully mischievous. Despite all that, Qin Yuanao's heart did not waver in front of this beautiful duo. After losing their pillar of support, the mother and daughter found Qin Yuanao to be someone they could entrust themselves to for life, so they tried to seduce him. However, Qin Yuanao outrightly told them that he cultivated the virgin boy kung fu one and couldn't lose his chastity. Following through with his promise, Qin Yuanao looked after the two without overstepping his boundaries. Finally, he found a suitable man and entrusted the mother and daughter to him. Meng Jingzhou remarked, "To think that there is such an upright hero in this world, wealthy yet not greedy and unswayed when faced with beauties." His words resonated with the people around him. Qin Yuanao is really a great person. It's a pity I don't know Qin Yuanao, otherwise I would definitely borrow some spirit stones from him. Who said that even heroes have a weakness for beauties? Hasn't Qin Yuanao proved otherwise? In the corner, Man Ji-yu watched as Lu Yang entertained the crowd and Meng Jingzhou supported him ardently. He found them to be incredible as they needed no script, they simply made up a story on the spot. When will I finally have such a talent? Drinkers liked flaunting about things others didn't know. They had drunk quite a bit when listening to Lu Yang's story, so there were some details that were fuzzy. This was something they realized when boasting after drinking yet again. However, they were already halfway through the story, and there was no way they could lose face by admitting that they had forgotten the remaining half. Hence, they made up the rest of the story with their imagination. The parts everyone forgot were different, so the additional stories they fabricated were different, resulting in all sorts of rumors about Qin Yuanao. Have you heard of that great philanthropist called Qin Yuanao? Do you mean the one who secretly found a spirit stone quarry, became a tycoon among local cultivators overnight, and lent others money without having them pay him back? I think so, but what I heard was that Qin Yuanao stays away from women and is interested in men. Yes, I heard that Qin Yuanao cultivates the virgin boy kung fu and likes little boys best. Are you for real? Is that how you practice the virgin boy kung fu? Didn't they say that those who cultivate the virgin boy kung fu must eat boy chicken too? They're all wrong. I heard that Qin Yuanao obtained the legendary Immortal artifact, the Merit Logbook, by chance. He became recognized as its true owner by dripping his blood on it. The more good deeds he does, the more merits he accumulates. These merits can be exchanged for rewards, even including spirit treasures, immortal artifacts, and cultivation. I also heard that he is the destined overlord of the 9 netherworlds who manages everyone's life, death, and merits. Don't be misled by his current weak strength, he's just amassing power and growing in secret. As soon as he gets the chance, he'll become a dragon that soars the 9 heavens and ascend to an immortal. He endured humiliation and forced himself to join a diabolic creed only because he wanted to infiltrate the higher-ups and wipe them out so that they could also become his merits. He views the diabolic creed as something already in his pocket, such strong and valiant vigor. In Yanjiang Commandery, the diabolic creed was holding their regular meeting. The followers lined up deferentially in 2 rows while the branch leader sat on a stone carved from a whole chunk of crimson agate. The armrests were carved with a dragon's and tiger's head, signifying his authority as the branch leader. This chair was a tribute from Qin Yuanao. Qin Yuanao was in a very foul mood. His forehead had darkened, and the corners of his mouth would twitch every now and then, revealing beast-like teeth. His colleagues paid no heed to him. Considering their similar cultivation and status, they wouldn't be implicated no matter how furious he was. That was simply how diabolic creeds work. What does the other party's life and death have to do with me? I'm not the unlucky one. However, Qin Yuanao couldn't be blamed for his bad mood as people were already asking him before the meeting started, "Can you lend me some spirit stones? After all, you have a spirit stone quarry. Do you know any beautiful sisters or mother-daughter pairs? Do recommend one pair to me. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have taken you to the brothel to listen to music. It must have been very painful for you to go to that kind of place, right? Big brother Qin, I'm going to stick with you from now on. The merit logbook isn't as important, what I value most is you as a person. Upright and righteous, generous with money, uninterested in women. Qin Yuanao, you're really a disgrace to us diabolic creeds. Don't tell me that you're a spy sent by the righteous path." Qin Yuanao clenched his fists, vowing to find the person who defamed him, chop them into pieces, and feed them to dogs. I'm a self-respecting bad guy. How did I suddenly become a good guy? Who are you scolding to be a good guy? Chapter 53, The Diabolic Creed's Large-Scale Recruitment. In pitch darkness, a dozen pairs of eyes glowed with a mysterious light, as if they belonged to poisonous snakes hiding in caves. These dozen pairs of eerie eyes were fixated on the branch leader, silently waiting for him to speak. Finally, the branch leader who was sitting lazily spoke in a hoarse voice that sounded like he hadn't spoken for several decades. Every word he uttered carried a weight to them. "Why are the lamps not lit?" An administrator respectfully replied, "Branch leader, have you forgotten? During the previous meeting, you gave high praise for the atmosphere at the meetings with higher-ups. You even mentioned that our Yanjiang branch doesn't have the atmosphere of a diabolic creed. After thinking about it, I realized that it was indeed the case. Perhaps this was the reason for the Yanjiang branch ranking the lowest among the branches. That got me thinking, don't the stories often mention that we diabolic creeds like to plot sinister schemes in dark places? So, I deliberately didn't let the servants light the lamps. Actually, you know what? Not lighting the lamps really gives off the atmosphere of us doing evil deeds." It was evident that this administrator was very clear about his own actions, aware that diabolic creeds were not places for doing good deeds. The branch leader fell silent for a long while. Is this administrator hinting to me that he wants to leave the creed? Is he hinting that the Yanjiang branch hasn't had a raise in budget for a long time? Or is he hinting that we should buy insurance for the members? He's probably not planning to leave the creed. He has been industrious in doing bad deeds and doesn't differentiate between friends and enemies. Not only does he do evil outside, but he also sabotages his own people in the diabolic creed. He's no doubt a bad egg. It's not about increasing our budget either. The diabolic creed's budget is linked to the local treasury and is already an enormous sum, considering that it is 3 times that of local officials. As Yanjiang Commandery is a remote and small commandery, its budget can't possibly be at the same level as the headquarters. It's even less likely that he's requesting to buy insurance. Most members of diabolic creeds don't even have successors. Who will the payouts even go to? Besides, the Luodi Merchant Guild won't let diabolic creeds buy insurance. If they were to sell life insurance or accident insurance to diabolic creed members, the diabolic creeds would be confident of making the Merchant Guild pay through the nose and not even have money left for their underwear. Let's light the lamps first. Understood. The administrator gave a puff, and specks of flame fell onto the lamps, igniting the wicks. In an instant, the entire hall became bright. The branch leader spoke again. Everyone may have more or less heard about the rumors regarding Little Chin. Stop spreading them, don't let others see us as a joke. We are all witnesses to Little Chin's character. He's evil to the core and there's nothing he wouldn't do. If he gets arrested by the authorities, even decapitation is a light punishment for him. That's enough to prove that Little Chin's character is a good fit for our creed's doctrine. As for the talk of Little Chin being a member of the righteous path, that's just utter nonsense. Those who can join our creed have all passed the creed leader's tests. The creed leader's assessment of him was diabolic nature to the bone. Our creed leader's judgment definitely won't be wrong. Qin Yuanao bowed. That is wise of you, branch leader. He felt slightly better. After I get back, I'm determined to slaughter the ones spreading the rumors. The branch leader made no mention of Qin Yuanao's matter again. He had spoken those few lines simply because of Qin Yuanao's favor in gifting him the chair. The reason I have gathered everyone here today is that the headquarters has assigned us a task. He paused for a bit. They request branches from all locations to recruit new disciples. Qin Yuanao and the others were taken aback. The diabolic creed hadn't conducted a large-scale recruitment for 30 years. New members in the recent 30 years had joined only through referrals. One example was Qin Yuanao's attempt at recruiting the Tiger Demon. Unfortunately, the Tiger Demon was insistent on staying at Pine Mountain. I believe everyone here is aware of the news regarding the Great Era. Geniuses of the era would rise, renowned experts could be defeated by some unknown youngster, and countless undiscovered ancient cave ruins would appear once again. This is an era of fortuitous opportunities and challenges. The 5 great immortal sects, S-class sects, and first-class sects are teeming with geniuses. Once scarce, dual spirit roots are now a common sight instead. If we let these geniuses truly grow up, we can forget about competing in this great era. If we want to fight, now is the only time. If we grab hold of the fortuitous opportunities, we'll be able to encounter the rain and transform into dragons, soaring through the 9 heavens and becoming carefree immortals. However, fortuitous opportunities aren't so easy to grasp. The damn great Xia dynasty and 5 great immortal sects have intensified their efforts in suppressing us, and many of our comrades have fallen. To secure a place in this great era, we must expand our diabolic creed and gain more followers. The 4 great diabolic creeds have already reached a consensus on this. What all of you need to do is to disseminate news of the diabolic creed's recruitment through your own channels. Try to gather all the diabolic cultivators from Yanjiang Commandery and nearby commanderies or those who are interested in joining our creed. Someone voiced a concern: if we recruit on such a large scale, wouldn't we give the righteous path a chance to infiltrate the diabolic creeds? He wasn't the only one with this question. The diabolic creeds had always been cautious for survival. If a few undercovers from the righteous path wormed their way in, the diabolic creeds would be in a precarious position. The branch leader shook his head. This recruitment is organized by the creed leader with his almighty powers. Those from the righteous path can never pass the trials he sets. All skepticism vanished, replaced by boundless fervor. The creed leader was an omnipotent figure in the diabolic creed. They believed him to be the guiding star that could lead their everlasting creed to glory. After the meeting adjourned, Qin Yuanao immediately touched on his connections to find out who was trying to frame him. Through multiple means, he finally traced the source to a small tavern. That customer was 8 feet tall, 8 feet wide, and had a face full of pockmarks. He was a burly fellow who looked like he could eat 3 children for a meal. The tavern owner gestured, having a vivid impression of Lu Yang. Based on the descriptions, Qin Yuanao soon drew a portrait that looked nothing like the real Lu Yang. After all, Lu Yang and the others had disguised themselves before entering the tavern to spread the rumors. Qin Yuanao's eyes were frigid. You dare to start a rumor when you're so conspicuous. Did you think I'm a pushover? It was already late at night, but there was no curfew in the Great Xia dynasty. Qin Yuanao and his gang of underlings were enjoying barbecue on the streets. There were pork skewers, beef skewers, roasted lamb legs, roasted chicken feet, roasted pork rind, roasted beef tendons, roasted cow trotters, roasted river prawns, tender grilled kidney, grilled chives, roasted potatoes, grilled tomatoes, roasted tofu. The grilled skewers were tender and well seasoned. They were bursting with flavor. Slathered with a dark-colored oily secret sauce, they would sizzle and a fragrance would assault the nostrils when they were grilled over charcoal. The pork was skewered on long bamboo sticks and grilled over a large pot of fire. The fatty parts were rich but not greasy, and the lean parts bore an intense meaty flavor. The lamb legs were placed inside the tandoors and barbecued. With the combination of stewing and roasting, the heat was evenly distributed, resulting in just the right crispness and tenderness while encompassing a fresh fragrance. The chicken feet were first stewed in lu sauce and then grilled. The presence of the tendons, skin, and crunchy bones offered a bountiful texture, and chewing on them was pure satisfaction. The chicken legs were grilled raw. It required precise control of the fire to prevent excessive loss of moisture and oil so that the skin, meat, tendons, and bones could achieve a balance between flavor and texture. The potatoes were barbecued while wrapped then smoked, finally adding a secret sauce. It was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside with a fine texture blessing the mouth. All of them ate until their mouths were covered in oil. When they were full, Qin Yuanao arrogantly ordered his underlings. You lot, go and search the whole city for these few people. Don't come back until you find them. Roger, big brother. The underlings replied in unison and split up. After finishing his barbecue meal, Qin Yuanao was content and temporarily cast aside all thoughts about the annoying rumor mongers. At the same time, he didn't notice Lu Yang lurking underground. Few people pay attention to what is beneath their feet. And Qin Yuanao was no exception. Chapter 54, Naming the Shop. After identifying the location of their destination, Lu Yang reconvened with the other two and analyzed. Judging from Qin Yuanao's walking posture and breathing frequency, he should be at the advanced foundation establishment stage. He stays in a normal estate which isn't too big. It also doesn't look like there are servants or anyone else. Let's observe him nearby for a while longer. First, it's to observe his habits. We can't be totally clueless when people in the Diabolic Creed ask us after we join. Second, it's to follow him and see if we can find the Yanjiang branch's base. Man Ji Yu was puzzled. Qin Yuanao has so many underlings, so why aren't we following them to find the Yanjiang branch? Meng Jingzhou rejected this idea as he knew a bit more about diabolic creeds. Those people don't have cultivation. It's true that they're Qin Yuanao underlings, but they're not members of the diabolic creed. Joining a diabolic creed is not as easy as you think. Besides, we're not even sure if these people know that Qin Yuanao belongs to a diabolic creed. Anyways, where should we hide to observe him? There are no hostelries nearby. The only establishments are a few teahouses and taverns. We can partake in tea in the morning, but what about at night? Diabolic creeds love acting at night. Lu Yang was also slightly fazed by this conundrum. Suddenly, the corner of his eye lit up upon catching sight of a teahouse with a signboard for rent. This teahouse's location is perfect. We can observe Qin Yuanao from the second floor. Let's rent this teahouse and keep an eye on him while under the guise of opening a shop. Meng Jingzhou nodded and followed up with a question, what shop do we open? Although opening a shop is a facade, we need to make sure that our pretense is convincing. I'm not good at brewing tea, so continuing to run a teahouse is out of the question. There's a senior in my family who is well versed in linguistic spells. I spent some time learning the 4 fundamentals of Shangsheng comedy: speak, learn, tease, and sing. Meng Jingzhou was very dedicated. I propose we open a Shangsheng house. I'll perform a solo shangsheng. Lu Yang was impressed by the multi-talented Meng Jingzhou. But shangsheng is only lively in the day, there'll be hardly anyone left at night. The best solution is to find a business that operates at night, maybe an entertainment venue so that it can be full of buzz and people can drink and make merry. By letting everyone enjoy themselves, we can observe Qin Yuanao from the second floor without him noticing us. Meng Jingzhou blushed. Although he was a little hesitant, he was mostly excited. A nighttime business, don't tell me that you want to open. Lu Yang nodded. That's right, I'm talking about a barbecue shop. Meng Jingzhou nodded. That's right, I was thinking of that too. Lu Yang had thought it through. Barbecue was easy to pick up, and even if they were inexperienced, they should probably get the hang of it after charring the barbecue for more than 10 times. You can leave the barbecue to me. Man Ji-yu smiled with overflowing confidence. To prove his competency, he even fished out a piece of paper that wrote, "Ancestral Barbecue Secret Recipe." Lu Yang and Meng Jingzhou found the secret recipe very familiar. Isn't this the ancestral barbecue secret recipe on the rewards list that can only be exchanged with 100 contribution points? Man Ji-yu smiled sheepishly. Back home, I often barbecued wild beasts myself, including black bears, wild boars, and small rabbits. I noticed that there are many things to eat in the Dao-seeking sect but very few barbecue shops, so I put my ancestral barbecue secret recipe out there. Lu Yang had already been baffled then. Who would place a barbecue secret recipe on the rewards boards? So you were the one who put it there. Meng Jingzhou was curious. Did anyone buy it? Man Ji-yu answered honestly. A senior brother told me that after he bought the barbecue secret recipe, he went on a mission with a fellow female disciple in the wilderness and used his barbecue to win her heart. Meng Jingzhou didn't know what to say. I shouldn't have asked. A faint smile appeared on Man Gu's face. There's also another benefit to opening a barbecue shop. And what's that? Man Ji-yu summoned the 2 tiger henchmen ghosts. I don't have to do the work myself. We can let these 2 tiger henchmen ghosts barbecue in the rear kitchen, and we don't even have to give them any wages, it's very convenient. This way, we won't even have to hire a waiter. It's both cost-saving and secretive, truly well thought out. After learning from Lu Yang and Meng Jingzhou for so long, Man Ji-yu had managed to learn a thing or two. However, Lu Yang adamantly refused to admit that Man Ji-yu had learned anything from him. Man Ji-yu spent the night researching the secret recipe. His old home was in the wilderness, so the original version of the barbecue recipe consisted of many ingredients that were unique to the wild. He had to study how these could be substituted. He suddenly asked, by the way, do you eat grilled bugs and grilled cow eyes? Lu Yang and Meng Jingzhou shook their heads, persuading Man Ji-yu to stick to things that were within the general public's comfort zone. Man Ji-yu simply replied, oh. He pondered about it briefly. Firstly, I'm a normal person. Secondly, I can accept these things, so whatever I can accept, normal people can also accept. Conclusion reached. Man Ji-yu retained the grilled bugs, grilled cow eyes, and other barbecue ingredients with special regional traits, hoping that people in Yanjiang Commandery would like them. Early the next morning, Meng Jingzhou demonstrated his extraordinary wealth by purchasing the whole tea house. Hold on, didn't we say to rent? Lu Yang stared at Meng Jingzhou in a stupor. Meng Jingzhou had acted too quickly. Before Lu Yang could react, the tea house was already under their names. We're just doing the mission for a few months. Don't tell me you're planning to run the place for your whole life. Meng Jingzhou defended himself with conviction. I have always only used my own things. If I can buy it, I'll never rent it. Worst case, I'll just sell it off again after we're done with the mission. Seeing how swiftly Meng Jingzhou handed over the money, the original tea house owner rapidly packed up and left. After his departure, a very serious problem lay in front of them. What should be the name of the barbecue shop? Meng Jingzhou proposed, I suggest calling it, Waiter Meng Barbecue Shop. Lu Yang cast a glance at Meng Jingzhou and was dismissive. This name is too vulgar. I suggest calling it, Just Drink 3 Bowls Barbecue Shop. 1. Meng Jingzhou and Man Ji-yu shook their heads, finding it not at all appropriate. It was rare for Man Ji-yu to raise a different opinion. The name, Just Drink 3 Bowls, is too long. Why don't we follow our tribe's style and call it, Ha 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 Barbecue Shop, or, barbecue shop. Lu Yang had heard of the naming customs of the barbarian tribe in the wild. Such methods were considered progressive even within the fairly progressive Tao-seeking sect. There were the weapon shop, roar tavern, ow brothel, and more. What about calling it Transcendent Tribulation Barbecue Shop? We might as well call it Immortal Ascension Barbecue Shop. I think Light Boat Barbecue Shop sounds acceptable. Who would give a barbecue shop such an elegant name? The three discussed for a while more, but they eventually had to acknowledge a frustrating fact: they were all terrible at coming up with names. Forget it, the three of us can write a name each on a piece of paper and crumple them up. We'll shake them and pick randomly. Lu Yang recommended a solution, and the other two agreed. Considering that Lu Yang and Meng Jingzhou weren't exactly known to be pure-hearted, they decided that it'd be safer to have Man Ji-yu shake the paper lots. Pressing his hands together, Man Ji-yu hugged the three small paper balls. Swaying up and down and with his thumb shifting away, two small paper balls flew out. Opening up one of them, he saw what was written on the paper: "One more time, too." Man Ji-yu opened the other paper in confusion. The words written on it were, "Thank you for your patronage." Question marks were madly popping out of Man-gu's head. It took a while for him to register what was happening. We're just naming the shop and not participating in a lottery, right? Chapter 55, Flourishing Business. He glanced at Lu Yang, then at Meng Jingzhou, and slowly asked, "You came up with these names?" Lu Yang nodded. "I came up with, One More Time Barbecue Shop." Meng Jingzhou also nodded. "I came up with, Thank You for Your Patronage Barbecue Shop." In comparison to their ideas, Man Ji-yu felt that the name, Lam Barbecue Shop, was too ordinary. Add latest chapt. RS at free webnov. Only. The first paper Man Ji-yu unraveled was Lu Yang's, so according to their rules, the barbecue shop would be named, One More Time. By the way, do any of you have a method to conceal your aura waves? Lu Yang asked. When they were on the streets, Lu Yang had noticed that many people's breathing methods had different affinities with spirit energy, so he could verify that they were cultivators. However, when he used his spiritual consciousness to scan them, he couldn't discern their cultivation. Having one or two people with higher cultivation than himself was still reasonable, but when everyone's cultivation was higher than his, that was clearly impossible. Unlike Typing Village, although there were many cultivators, it was not to the extent of everyone being minimally at the foundation establishment stage. Upon further contemplation, Lu Yang figured it out. A cultivator's cultivation determined their status. If they wanted to roam the Jianghu without being bullied, they either had exceptional cultivation or hid their cultivation so that others wouldn't dare to recklessly make a move against them. With how we don't conceal ourselves at all when we go out, we're practically telling everyone that we're greenhorns. If we want to infiltrate the diabolic creed, we need to pretend to be old Jianghu veterans. I do have one, we used it when hunting back home. Man Ji-yu took out a sheepskin scroll from his chest pocket. The prey in the wilderness are very sly, they will run at the slightest hint of danger. If we wanted to be successful, we had to conceal our aura waves and set up an ambush beforehand. The barbarian tribe Man Ji-yu belonged to had the noblest bloodline in the wilderness. Not only did the Chi Training and Foundation Establishment tribe members go out to hunt, even the Golden Corps members who could fast also had to. For the barbarian tribe, the prey weren't just for sustenance but rather because they bore the properties of natural treasures. But you can't move when you use this secret spell. If you move, the spell is broken. The greater the restrictions, the more effective a spell often was. The effects of the sheepskin scroll's concealment effect alone was enough to rank it among the top 3. I have an ordinary concealment spell here, but someone who is one major cultivation stage above you can tell your cultivation. Meng Jingzhou whipped out a bamboo scroll. It was unclear how long it had been stored as it still emitted a faint bamboo scent. From the quality of the bamboo, one could also discern how extraordinary the spell it recorded was. There were still a plethora of other spells and magical items he brought from home stored inside his jade pendant. In fact, there were so many that he didn't have enough time to learn all of them. Lu Yang gave Meng Jingzhou an odd look. Didn't you leave your house and family? Where did you get so many good things from? My younger sister secretly gave them to me. Fine. The 3 of them began learning the concealment spell. All of them were promising talents, so it was a walk in the park for them to learn such a small spell. They picked it up in just an hour, and the only thing left was practice. Lu Yang cupped his fist in gratitude. When I learn new spells, I'll definitely teach them to you. It might not look like it, considering how effortless it was for Man Ji-yu and Meng Jingzhou to take out their spells, but Lu Yang knew deep down that the two types of concealment spells were rare. That fully demonstrated their trust in him. Meng Jingzhou laughed it off, and Man Ji-yu similarly told Lu Yang not to take it to heart. I remember that this was a tea house, but it's now a barbecue shop. Under the curtain of the night, two heroes from the Jianghu happened to realize that the original tea house was gone, now replaced by a barbecue shop with a very interesting name. One more time, barbecue shop. Oh, what a fragrant smell. The two Jianghu heroes sniffed the air as the aroma assailed their nostrils and made their mouths water. Shall we grab a bite? Let's go in. The two instantly agreed with each other and walked into the barbecue shop. As soon as they entered, they were flabbergasted by the boisterous atmosphere inside. Customers were clinking cups of wine with one another, wolfing down skewers, downing alcohol heartily, and stuffing themselves with euphoria plastered across their faces. Their voices were so loud that it could almost detach the roof. Burly men who looked like waiters were holding skewers as they ran in and out. Such a burly waiter, is it to prevent customers from dining and dashing? This new shop is so popular. The two were quite excited. There must be a reason for the shop to be such a hit, we must try it. They were very lucky as there was only one available table left. After the two sat down, another waiter by the name of Lu Yang held a small book and walked over, wearing the standard smile of the service industry. Hello, what would the two of you like to have? 2 bottles of wine, 1 plate of boiled peanuts, 30 lamb skewers, 30 beef skewers, and 2 servings of roasted potatoes, all mildly spicy. Both of us can't take too much spice. Lu Yang noted. He then sent an auditory message to Man Ji-yu, can you adjust your recipe? Your barbecue is too delicious and has attracted too many people. How are we going to spy on Chen Yuan now? Lu Yang hadn't expected Man Gu's secret recipe to be so effective. The first night, a few customers came. The second day, a few tables were filled. The third day, the place was packed. Today was the 4th day, and just as the two Jianghu heroes occupied the last table, a queue had already started to form outside. Lu Yang suspected that by the 5th day, someone would already be asking for reservations or sharing tables with others. On the 30th day, they would be able to open a chain store in the neighboring commandery. A year later, there would be 200 chains in the northern region of the central continent. In 3 years, they would become a sensation across the continent. 5 years after that, they would be listed on the stock market, that was if the concept of a stock market existed here. There's nothing wrong with Man Gu's recipe, right? He didn't add any illegal substance inside the sauce, right? This was just a joke. Lu Yang and Meng Jingzhou had tasted the barbecue prepared by Man Ji-yu and found no illegal substance. Although it was indeed delectable, they didn't expect to attract so many customers. Lu Yang finally realized the reason after a while. I've been constantly eating supreme quality delicacies at Heaven's Gate Peak, so my palate is already spoiled. The fact that I still find Man Gu's barbecue yummy speaks volumes about the uniqueness of his recipe. In other words, I definitely can't let the shop continue being so popular. It seems quite busy downstairs, do you need me to go down and help? Meng Jingzhou's lazy voice echoed in their ears. He was the only one monitoring Chen Yuanao from the 2nd floor. Just stay put and continue spying on Chen Yuanao. Don't come down and cause trouble. Lu Yang warned. If Meng Jingzhou comes downstairs, he's certainly not going to just be a waiter. Based on his understanding of Meng Jingzhou, the latter could deliver a round of shangsheng comedy even while serving dishes. Meng Jingzhou let out a big yawn that made the rest sleepy. But it's really boring on the 2nd floor. It's been 4 days, but Chen Yuanao doesn't have any intentions of leaving his house. He either meditates or meditates, he doesn't even have any form of entertainment. If you ask me, I'd say that we might as well pretend to be Jianghu entertainers. I'll go to Chen Yuanao's house to perform shangsheng comedy while you perform lifting huge vats. While he's distracted, Man Ji-yu can plant an eavesdropping talisman or something. Lu Yang and Man Jiyu completely ignored Meng Jingzhou. The best solution to deal with a talkative fellow was to pretend they didn't exist. Noticing that no one was paying attention to him, Meng Jingzhou could only change the topic. Man Jiyu, are you seriously not considering making the skewers taste worse? Man Jiyu had his own staunch principles. Our family is a barbecue ancestral clan. All 18 generations of us can barbecue. I can't ruin the reputation of our barbarian tribe. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 56, An underling must strictly follow their boss's orders. That was the truth. The barbarian tribe's primary cooking method was barbecue. Mangu's eyes were ablaze with a fervent fighting spirit. Lu Yang didn't know what to say. Why must your fighting spirit be ablaze here? We're here to infiltrate the diabolic creed, not open chain stores for your family. He sighed. Since Man Jiyu was unwilling to lower the quality, they could only raise the price. Dear guests, what wine would you like? The two Jianghu heroes were open-minded people and shouted unrestrainedly, the stronger the better. I'm known in the Jianghu as the one who never gets drunk even after 1,000 cups. The other person also yelled, and I'm known in the Jianghu as the one who never gets drunk after 10,000 cups. Lu Yang thought to himself, stop boasting, the two of you. Are you sure you can handle it if I serve you 2 bottles of pure alcohol? In the end, Lu Yang served them 2 bottles of Laobaigan liquor, one hoping that their alcohol tolerance was really as good as they had bragged. Standing at the entrance to take care of the customers, Lu Yang hollered, please take a queue number and don't cut the queue. We have prepared complimentary tea and snacks for everyone. We seek your kind patience. A table will free up soon. Also, there are no discounts even if you bring in new customers, stop bringing in new people. Although Lu Yang wasn't sure if it would be effective, he decided to shout a few times first. We mustn't open a chain store. The people lining up were restless and bombarded him with questions. Can we reserve a table in advance? Do you offer doorstep delivery? Can we book the whole venue? Apart from heroes, there were also cultivators, and they were swimming in money. Reservations are possible. If it's not too far away, we can do doorstep delivery, but there'll be an additional service fee. There's no problem with booking the whole venue. Lu Yang wished someone would just book the place so that he could have some peace. Attention, everyone. Qin Yuanao has left his estate. Lu Yang and Man Jiyu received Meng Jingzhou's auditory message at the same time. The former felt a surprising sense of relief. I'll go follow him, you come down and switch with me. And Man Jiyu, keep an eye on him and don't let him cause a mess. As Lu Yang had grasped 2 spells, shrinking earth into inches, he had an overwhelming advantage in battle entailing people. Since he couldn't just dive into the soil in public, he went to the backyard where there were 2 tiger henchmen ghosts busy with barbecue, their heads covered in sweat from exhaustion. They wished they could grow 8 more arms to work. Their movements were so rapid that they almost seemed to blur. They probably haven't experienced such fulfilling and busy lives when they were alive. In addition, the tiger henchmen ghosts were wearing clothes of traveling merchants from when they were alive. To prevent drunk drinkers from running to the backyard and accidentally noticing something wrong with the tiger henchman ghosts' clothes, the trio had spent half a day studying how they could change the tiger henchman ghosts' clothes, from getting a Taoist to hold a ritual and getting monks to chant scriptures to browsing through ancient books and verifying legends. By the time they neared the end, the 2 tiger henchman ghosts had become more transparent. Fortunately, Lu Yang found the simplest solution: burn the clothes for the tiger henchman ghosts. 2. As the 2 tiger henchman ghosts were engrossed with work, they didn't even notice that Lu Yang had come. The latter successfully sank into the ground, and he gingerly tailed Qin Yuanao. After Meng Jingzhou quickly changed his clothes to take over for Lu Yang, he served some lamb skewers. Lamb skewers are ready, do enjoy, dear guest. When it comes to these lamb skewers, they have quite the story. Please hear me out slowly. There was this one day when golden light radiated in the northern grassland. A baby was born. When Qin Yuanao walked in the dark, his figure seemed to almost blend in with the night. Even the passers-by didn't notice his presence. A technique related to shadows or related to darkness. Lu Yang observed secretly as he tried his best to collect information. For the purpose of creating his own techniques, he read extensively and gained some knowledge of the manifold types of techniques. Lu Yang continued to follow Qin Yuanao. The latter stepped onto a muddy lane and arrived at the winding small alley. Despite hiding underground, Lu Yang could still smell the stench. Hearing Qin Yuanao's hastening footsteps, Lu Yang could deduce that the other party was in a foul mood. Qin Yuanao furrowed his brow, not liking such a place. With his face darkened as he kicked open a room's door, he startled his underlings who were deep asleep. "You still have the mood to sleep." The underlings hurriedly got up and trembled, not understanding why their boss had flown into a rage. "We have worked hard and never dared to slack off. After being busy the whole day, is it wrong to sleep at night?" "On the contrary, boss doesn't sleep at night and doesn't wake up in the morning. Compared to our boss, our schedules are much too regular." Qin Yuanao kicked the underling to the wall, questioning with wrath. "Why has no one reported to me these few days? What about the people I told you to look for?" The underling felt as if a hammer had just smashed his heart, and he said in an aggrieved manner, "Boss, you said that we can only return when we find the people. We couldn't find the people you mentioned and didn't dare to go look for you. Why are we also wrong for listening to your orders?" The underling felt wronged. "As an underling, I do whatever my big brother says, yet he's not even satisfied with this, he's so hard to please." Qin Yuanao fell silent. He actually thought that the underling made a good point. "But I just want to hit him, what should I do? If you're not coming to see me, don't you know how to write a letter? But you said that important matters have to be reported in person." Qin Yuanao flared up. "Didn't I say that special situations call for special measures? You did say that special situations call for special measures, but you also mentioned that whether something constitutes a special situation requires us to discuss it internally before you make the final decision. So did you discuss? We've discussed it 2 days ago. We unanimously agree that it's a special situation this time around and that it will need your judgment and decision. Then why don't I see all of you letting me decide? You said that important matters must be reported in person. Since we still couldn't find the person who started the rumor, we couldn't go meet you." Qin Yuanao was at a loss of words. "Am I going to die from this never-ending spiral today?" He took in 2 deep mouthfuls of air, then repeatedly warned himself not to kill anyone. "This group of underlings may be inflexible, but they're loyal to me and carry out all my orders strictly without the slightest deviation. Killing the underlings would cause others to become disillusioned. Besides, I don't have many trustworthy subordinates to begin with. If I kill more, there'll be none left. What exactly is the progress with searching for that person? Even if you can't find them, you should at the very least have some clues, right?" Qin Yuanao stared at the underling. "If you dare to say that no clues have been found, you can forget about staying alive today. Do you really think I don't dare to kill people?" The underling muttered softly, "No." Sensing his boss's gaze filled with killing intent, he quickly added, "Big brother, you also know how special the people you're looking for are. As long as they had revealed their faces in public, they would have attracted attention. However, 4 days have passed, and our brothers can't find anything even after running until their feet have grown blisters. Putting everything else aside, just based on the traits of being 8 feet tall and 8 feet wide, we've inquired all around and only found one who meets the conditions. However, they either have no pockmarks, don't eat children, or have a rather pleasant appearance. Who is it?" Qin Yuanao thought to himself, "Let's not care about whether the appearances are similar. Just like how we slaughter a chicken to scare the monkey, we kill someone with a similar figure first to scare the rest as a warning so that we won't accidentally be underestimated by people in the shadows. It's the mascot that sells tofu on Chinmen Street." Chapter 57, Gains. The source of this CNTENT is Freeway. Novel.co. The Luodi Merchant Guild's business strategy was rather progressive. To broaden their brand recognition, they created the concept of a brand mascot and invited a master artist Zondowzi. After 3 revisions, the decided first draft was a mascot. This first draft featured a chubby little pig holding a coin. After the Luodi Merchant Guild introduced their brand mascot, their fame indeed grew significantly. When many other businesses learned of it, they followed suit, creating their own unique mascots. One such business was the tofu store on Chinmen Street in Yanjiang Commandery. Qin Yuanao didn't end up killing his underling. Upon regaining his composure and giving it further thought, he realized that his underlings were down to earth with their work and never slipped up. If they said that they couldn't find those people, it really means that they couldn't. It can't possibly be the tofu store's mascot running about and starting rumors. To have such distinctive features but still untraceable. It looks like my fellow Diabolic Creed members are framing me. Qin Yuanao sneered. How can I still not figure out that someone has deliberately set me up? But I just don't know who. This was not uncommon in Diabolic Creeds. Qin Yuanao himself had done his fair share of harming his fellow members. Since there were still no leads after all this time, Qin Yuanao could only swallow this loss disgruntledly and slowly plan who he should take revenge on. If you can't find them, then there's no need to keep searching. Qin Yuanao took out a stack of papers and a few silvers and tossed them to the underling. This was also a reason for not killing his underlings. Someone must do the work assigned by the branch leader. If I kill them now, where else am I going to look for a replacement? Early the next morning, gather all our brothers and go to the nearest 8 commanderies. Secretly disseminate these papers in the black market. These silvers will be your stipend and travel expenses. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. The underling was frightened by Qin Yuanao's last bellow. Louder. Understood. The underling straightened his back and shouted until his neck turned red. The middle-aged woman from next door yelled angrily, her voice resounding through the wall, "Do you know what time it is now? Why are you shouting?" She shouted even more loudly than the underling. Killing intent flashed in Qin Yuanao's eyes. "Big brother, she is a Foundation establishment cultivator who is here to live in seclusion," the underling quickly explained. Many cultivators liked playing around in the mortal world. Who knew if those selling barbecue skewers on the street were all cultivators? Qin Yuanao snorted, saying nothing as he left. The underling yawned. Boss has finally left. He then fell asleep as soon as his head hit his pillow. There was still work for him tomorrow morning. Qin Yuanao's underlings would often receive some random, incomprehensible tasks from him. To maintain secrecy, he wouldn't tell his underlings anything, only demanding that they follow his instructions. It was the same this time around. After the underling was fast asleep, Lu Yang darted out from the ground. He swiped away 3 pieces of paper and followed Qin Yuanao. The latter had only come out to look for his underlings. Once he was done giving his instructions, he went back. When Qin Yuanao passed by one more time barbecue shop, he paused for a moment. I went into seclusion for just 4 days and a new barbecue shop has already opened up. And it's already so popular. Qin Yuanao suddenly had the urge to get a meal. It doesn't matter if there are many people, I can just cut in line. You're already lucky to have a Foundation establishment cultivator like me coming to your small place to eat and not making you kneel to receive me. Yet you still want me to wait in line. However, Qin Yuanao finally dismissed the idea. Something like barbecue is more enjoyable when there are many people, eating alone is just not as fun. I'll save it for next time. Qin Yuanao went home. Lu Yang returned to the barbecue shop to help out. As soon as he got back, he saw Meng Jingzhou performing Shangsheng comedy. The diners were even applauding and clamoring for an encore, one more time. Lu Yang took a deep breath. I see that the two of you really want to make this barbecue shop a big success. Sensing Lu Yang's knife-cutting gaze, Meng Jingzhou quickly shut his mouth and obediently resumed his role as a waiter, though he would ignore all the diners' calls. After a while, the diners gradually left, and the barbecue shop finally regained its peace. The 2 tiger henchman ghosts tidied up the grills and utensils and took stock of the ingredients used for the day, estimating the amount of ingredients they needed to buy for the next day. On the other hand, the trio sat on the 2nd floor, discussing their gains for today. How much silver did we earn today? Meng Jingzhou rubbed his hand excitedly. Starting a business from scratch gave him a strong sense of achievement. Who's talking about that kind of gain? Lu Yang slammed the table and glared at him. Did you forget what we came here for? Open a chain store. Man Ji Yu was still thinking about expanding his family business and taking it to great heights. Lu Yang stopped paying attention to the 2 fools. He took out 3 pieces of paper and recounted the events of the night from following Qin Yuanao. White paper. Meng Jingzhou took a piece of paper and examined both sides but couldn't make any sense of it. Lu Yang also didn't know how to reveal the content on the paper. Qin Yuanao told his people to spread these papers to the black market, so there must be some information on them. It's just that we don't know how to identify and decipher them. Is it a special communication method between diabolic creeds? Meng Jingzhou nodded, agreeing with Lu Yang's conjecture. Very possible, these sneaky fellows often like to use secret codes and the like. This is a paper for all diabolic cultivators, and all of them need to get it. If even we, at the foundation establishment stage, can't see the text on the paper, it's all the more impossible for a cheap training diabolic cultivator to be able to see it. So the problem doesn't lie in the secret code but rather the paper. Lu Yang mused over it for a bit, then heated the paper over the charcoal fire. What are you doing? Man Ji Yu was baffled. Lu Yang carefully heated the paper, casually explaining, I read in a book that if you write on paper with sugar water, the text will be invisible after it dries. You need high heat to remove the water from the sugar, which then reveals brown-colored text. Meng Jingzhou and Man Ji Yu found this piece of knowledge to be very interesting. After 5 minutes of heating, nothing appeared on the paper, so Lu Yang could only abandon this method. He summoned a small ball of water on his palm and suddenly squeezed it until it burst. The mist of water droplets sputtered out and landed on the white paper. What are you doing now? Lu Yang explained, special liquids like body wash and laundry detergent are very water absorbent. When they are used for writing, the text will be invisible after it dries. Only by sprinkling water on the paper and making use of the concept of different absorption rates can the characters be revealed. The central continent might seem to be similar to historical times, but it actually wasn't the case. Due to the existence of spells, be it by design or by coincidence, there were many things here that didn't belong to ancient times. Such examples were the body wash and laundry detergent Lu Yang had mentioned. Unfortunately, there was still nothing on the paper. Lu Yang wasn't discouraged. After pondering for a while more, he came up with a new idea. Since this is a communication method among the diabolic path, perhaps we have to use methods common to them to decipher it. Lu Yang bit his thumb and let a few drops of blood fall onto the paper. The blood seemed to have come alive, swimming across the paper's surface. As I thought, this is a method used by the diabolic path for forging paper, so it can't be judged by normal standards. Lu Yang heaved a sigh of relief. I've finally succeeded. There seemed to be many invisible grooves on the white paper. Wherever the blood flowed, it would fill these grooves and form characters. On the first day of the 4th month, the Everlasting Creed's Yanjiang branch will recruit new members. The exact location will be announced the day before the recruitment. Chapter 58. This is not how animal form fist is done. The Everlasting Creed was one of the 4 great diabolic creeds. The Everlasting Creed. I remember that they worship the Everlasting Immortal. They claim that the Everlasting Immortal never dies or perishes, existing for eternity. When one becomes a devout follower, they can avoid the 3 calamities and 5 tribulations of cultivation, and extend their lifespan. Meng Jingzhou recounted the information he had. These were just the most basic details that anyone could obtain with just a bit of effort, but the veracity remained to be uncertain. Since the Everlasting Creed is recruiting, this is actually a good opportunity for us. When the time comes, with all sorts of people mixed in, the entry requirements will be much lower, and they won't be too strict when verifying our identities. Lu Yang was elated. This is good news. I was just fretting over how the 3 of us have never practiced legitimate diabolic cultivation techniques and whether we can use the ghost commanding spell to muddle through. But Qin Yuanao happened to bring us such great news, he's our lucky star. Then do we still kill Qin Yuanao? Man Ji Yu asked. It seems like there's no need to kill him anymore. Regardless, he is still a scourge, so we should kill him if we can, but let's not use his bone tablet, Lu Yang replied. No matter whether we can infiltrate the diabolic creed, we still need to kill Qin Yuanao. For a diabolic cultivator to reach the intermediate or advanced foundation establishment stage, it's impossible to not have blood on their hands. Don't be fooled by how Qin Yuanao didn't kill his underlings. That's not because he is soft-hearted but rather because they were still useful. However, when the underling loses a limb and becomes cumbersome in movement, they'll lose their usefulness to Qin Yuanao. That's when they'll definitely die. Why can't we use the bone tablet? Lu Yang called the 2 tiger henchman ghosts to serve some skewers, and he explained as he munched on them, the relationship between diabolic creed members isn't as good as we think. If we frame Qin Yuanao, He'll investigate and conclude that someone in the diabolic creed has it out for him. If we use Qin Yuanao's bone tablet to enter the diabolic creed, we'll be marked as Qin Yuanao's people. They might make things difficult for us, and it wouldn't be worth it then. Realization hit Man Ji Yu. Lu Yang chuckled. But the diabolic creed is really prudent. To prevent the location of the base from being leaked, they're only going to announce it at the last minute. Are they afraid that the righteous path will exterminate them after finding out their location? We will continue to tail Qin Yuanao and see if we can find the Yanjiang branch that way. We can also make the necessary preparations. It's getting late. Time to cultivate or rest as you see fit. Let's call it a day. The next morning, Lu Yang yawned after waking up. He got dressed and ate breakfast with the rest. Man Ji Yu had prepared beef offal soup too. He had already returned from the market, having pushed back a cart that was loaded with pork, beef, and mutton. He simmered beef femur bone to make the soup base as well as added a pinch of salt along with other seasoning. After the beef offal bubbled away for a while, a piping hot bowl of beef offal soup was ready. Lu Yang yelled, "Add more beef tripe." Gotcha. After a satisfying breakfast, everyone went about their respective tasks. Man Ji Yu was supposed to be on monitoring duty today, so he ran to the second floor, planning to sit there for the whole day. Meng Jingzhou was not one to keep still. Just like an excited rabbit, he had run off somewhere, probably to cause trouble for others. The two tiger henchman ghosts worked on butchering a variety of meat, chopping the vegetables, and preparing the skewers. The past 4 days had allowed them to familiarize themselves with the process. Skewering from morning to evening, they would be just in time for opening the shop and receiving customers at night. Afterward, they'll go to the backyard to heat the charcoal and start the grill, barbecuing for the whole night. As they worked from morning to night, it could be said that they had a fulfilling time. Lu Yang also had his own matters to attend to. He took out animal form fist, trying to see if he could grasp the rudiments. As he hadn't practiced martial arts before, he was uncertain deep inside. There's a first time for everything. Lu Yang set up the simplest soundproofing array so that no sound could pass in or out. Sitting cross-legged, he industriously flipped through the book. Animal form fist, a fist technique that mimics the special abilities and form of various animals as well as the combat and living states of humans. It includes the tiger fist, monkey fist, eagle claw fist, snake fist, and more. This book only contains the tiger fist. The tiger fist places emphasis on imitating a tiger's form, borrowing its techniques, internalizing it with reason, and merging them into a fist intent. The tiger fist sequence is short, concise, and compact, while its foot stance and footwork are smaller with a focus on the 3-7 stance. To master tiger fist, the most dangerous step lies in observing tigers. It is best to have experience in fighting a tiger. Only then can one deeply understand a tiger's combat stance and better imitate it. The hardest step was instead the easiest for Lu Yang. He had already fought against a tiger and won. He closed his eyes slowly. The roars, pounces, and tearing movements of the tiger during their battle replayed vividly in Lu Yang's mind. Although the tiger demon had been killed by him, he couldn't help but acknowledge that the tiger demon was a formidable opponent and that there were areas he could learn from it. Of course, it calling its wife for help is something I don't need to learn. I can't learn it now either. The tiger demon's figure and his own figure gradually overlapped, integrating into one, and his human form now possessed the skills of a tiger. In Lu Yang's mind, he repeatedly simulated the movements of tiger fist. The originally awkward movements became increasingly fluid, as if a tiger had possessed his body and was roaring in his mind. This was something that could only be done upon reaching the foundation establishment stage. It had high requirements for one's spiritual consciousness. Mortal martial artists wouldn't be able to accomplish this. Lu Yang opened his eyes, revealing a fierce glint and a ferocious tiger hidden in his eyes. Leaping into the air, he landed steadily and assumed a stance. His voice and breathing were full of vigor. As energy surged within him, he stomped the ground in a display of might, exuding a ferocious and intense aura. Hearing the sounds of Lu Yang's fist, the two tiger henchmen ghosts skewering inside shuddered. They initially thought that the tiger demon had been resurrected, cautiously peeking out of the door. Only after realizing that it was not the tiger demon did they reassuringly continue preparing the skewers. After completing a set of moves, Lu Yang found his entire body to be energized, brimming with endless strength that needed to be unleashed. Seizing this opportunity, he practiced a few more sets, each set more fluid than the previous one, and every move of his was firm and powerful. Regardless of how much of it could be applied in an actual battle, right now, even a Tiger Fist master couldn't find any flaw with Lu Yang. No, there's still room for improvement. Lu Yang's movements grew increasingly faster, though his heart remained as calm as a lake and a mirror. He had reached a wondrous state. Every movement of his revealed his comprehension of the fist technique. As he threw fists and delivered kicks, his comprehension deepened, and a faint phantom image of the tiger demon appeared behind Lu Yang. Roar. When Lu Yang's comprehension reached its peak, all of it culminated in this one tiger roar that was utterly satisfying. Why am I lying prone on the ground? Lu Yang came back to his senses, finding himself in an inexplicably strange position. When he wanted to stand up, his legs felt weak, and even after teetering and stumbling a few times, he still couldn't get up. What's going on? How could there be a mishap from just practicing fists? My talent in fist techniques is pretty high, so how could there be a problem? A sense of unease crept over Lu Yang. With both his hands and legs, he crawled to the side of a water vat. Lu Yang finally saw his current appearance. He had turned into a tiger. I have successfully mastered Tiger Fist, how delightful. Lu Yang, guess what I saw on the streets? There was a tofu shop with a very interesting mascot. Meng Jingzhou had just come back from strolling around. Having heard that Lu Yang was practicing fists in the backyard, he wanted to check on his progress. Then he saw a tiger crouching over the side of the water vat as if looking into a mirror. Holy crap, a demon. Chapter 59, Lu-style animal form fist. Holy crap, a demon. Meng Jingzhou shrieked, swinging his arms and ready to strike. Nobody could blame him for having such a reaction. The backyard was originally supposed to be where Lu Yang was practicing his fist techniques, but he had now vanished, and a tiger had appeared instead. It was easy to assume that the tiger demon had revived and devoured Lu Yang. The tiger demon uttered human words, sounding exactly like Lu Yang. Demon, your grandfather, it's me. It even has the same voice as Lu Yang. Meng Jingzhou was horrified. One human and one tiger leapt into the air. Stupefied by the voice of the tiger demon, Meng Jingzhou, he couldn't react in time and was swatted to the ground by Lu Yang's paw. Lu Yang snorted coldly. There aren't even traces of a struggle here in the courtyard, so how could I have been eaten by the tiger demon? This brat clearly recognizes me but is deliberately playing dumb. Meng Jingzhou clicked his tongue. Lu Yang hadn't really hit him just now. Besides, his skin was coarse and thick enough that it didn't hurt at all. He stood up and dusted himself off, looking at Lu Yang suspiciously. What on earth is going on here? Weren't you comprehending animal form fist? Why did you learn the shapeshifting technique instead? Hold on a bit, let me figure out how to turn myself back. The tiger demon, Lu Yang scratched the back of his head but realized that his paw couldn't reach. He had to sit down then use his hind paw to scratch. Forget it, I won't scratch, it's too detrimental to my image. Lu Yang bared his teeth. He truly hadn't expected that practicing fists could lead to so many bizarre troubles. Now that I think about it, only my sword technique is considered normal. Should I say that I live up to the expectations of a sword spirit root? Meng Jingzhou scampered up the stairs and called Man Jiyu to come down. What's the deal? I'm monitoring Qin Yuanao right now. I have something fun to show you. Meng Jingzhou dragged the confused Man Jiyu to the backyard where they saw the familiar tiger demon. Demon, give my brother Lu's life back. Man Jiyu bellowed and charged at Lu Yang without any hesitation. As he still hadn't fully processed what was going on, he didn't hold back. Seeing how the situation had escalated, Meng Jingzhou quickly hugged Man Jiyu by the waist, imploring the barbarian tribe big guy to calm down. Don't hit him. This is Lu Yang. The two tiger henchmen ghosts who were skewering heard the commotion in the backyard. Out of curiosity, they secretly ran over to peek at what was happening, only to be frightened out of their wits. The tiger demon has really revived this time. Tiger demon, Lu Yang rolled his eyes, ignoring this group of people. He instead focused on how to turn himself back. Closing his eyes, he silently recited, "Return to normal," thrice. By the time Lu Yang opened his eyes again, he had already regained his original appearance. After all that chaos, the trio could finally sit down and ponder over what had happened just now. The two tiger henchmen ghosts also heaved a sigh of relief and went back to skewering. Tonight's business will definitely be better than yesterday's, we have to prepare more skewers. So, here's what happened, I was practicing animal form fist just now. Lu Yang began to elucidate slowly. When Man Ji-yu heard Lu Yang mention that he was practicing animal form fist, he felt as if he suffered a traumatic blow to his worldview. He blurted out, "Is this animal form fist or animal shapeshifting fist?" 1. The sages were right, reading 10,000 books isn't enough, 1,000 li of travel is also necessary. Where would you find something like this in a book? I should stick closer to Brother Lu and Meng Jingzhou in their travels. I have truly broadened my horizons. Meng Jingzhou's reaction was not much better than Man Gu's. He stared at Lu Yang with an odd expression. I thought you were practicing a spell, yet you're telling me that you were practicing fists just now. Who on earth can achieve results like yours from practicing martial arts? Originally, Meng Jingzhou had already found it weird enough that Lu Yang's ghost commandment technique ended up with his soul leaving his body. He hadn't expected that something even more peculiar could have happened. Lu Yang was confident with his words as he shared his unique insights into animal form fist. Think about it, isn't the essence of animal form fist imitating animals? Tiger fist, monkey fist, crane fist, and so on, don't they all mimic tigers, monkeys, and cranes? Meng Jingzhou and Man Ji-yu nodded. Lu Yang pressed on, precisely. In that case, the better the imitation, the better the effects and the stronger the power are, am I right? Meng Jingzhou and Man Ji-yu nodded. I just had a close exchange with the tiger demon, so I'm the most familiar with tiger fist. Naturally, I picked it up the fastest and learned it the best, right? Meng Jingzhou and Man Ji-yu continued to nod. Lu Yang continued, with that in mind, I practiced fists, and as I became engrossed in practicing, I suddenly turned into a tiger. That makes perfect sense, right? Meng Jingzhou was just about to nod when he caught himself just in time. What sense? They're poles apart. Man Ji-yu still nodded dumbly. Lu Yang spread his hands in exasperation. I'm the one feeling the most helpless here. I was just practicing according to the manual but with a teeny bit of my own comprehension. Why don't you two also give it a try? Who knows if you might learn the shapeshifting technique this way? Excitement sparkled in Meng Jingzhou's and Man Gu's eyes. It would be amazing if we could learn the shapeshifting technique through practicing fists. Although it's said that the shapeshifting technique is used by those shady cultivators, learning an extra skill can't possibly hurt. Who knows if it might come in handy one day. With Lu Yang, the fist technique master, guiding them, the two quickly picked up tiger fist, their moves as mighty as a tiger. 2. However, they just couldn't figure out the most pivotal shapeshifting aspect. While the two practiced, Lu Yang didn't let himself be idle. As he watched their movements, another idea sprouted in his heart. Animal form fist is a fist technique that imitates, so why do we have to limit ourselves to animals? Why can't we imitate humans? This unstoppable idea took off like a wild horse free of its reins. The prerequisite for animal form fist was to be very familiar with the subject of imitation. Lu Yang's eyes lit up as he saw the two people occupied with practicing fists. Aren't they the best examples? I have already mastered the core tenets of animal form fist. It's time for innovation. Only by weeding out the old and bringing forth the new can there be improvement. To advance, one must innovate. Lu Yang acted on his thoughts right away. Closing his eyes once more, he recalled Man Gu's actions, and his body began to move. In the midst of his practice, Man Ji-yu noticed Lu Yang's movements, finding them uncannily familiar, but he just couldn't place a finger to it. Isn't that me? Man Ji-yu was swift to realize, but he didn't understand what Lu Yang was up to. The person in question was again immersed in wondrous comprehension. His body changed gradually until he actually turned into Man Ji-yu. Haha, I've succeeded. I knew my theory was correct. Lu Yang guffawed with Man Gu's face, which gave off a very queer and contradictory vibe. Exclamation marks were shooting out of Man Gu's head. What just happened? How did he turn into me in the blink of an eye? Why is it different from the animal form fist I know? You can use animal form fist to imitate people too. Brother Man Ji Yu, I didn't know you could laugh like that. Holy crap, two-man Gus. Meng Jingzhou was in the middle of practicing when he heard a different kind of laughter. Instinctively finding that something was off, he turned to look. Dang, one real and one fake man Gus. Wait, the new man Ji Yu is actually Lu Yang. Meng Jingzhou sized up Lu Yang. He does look like Man Ji Yu in terms of appearance, but the expression and demeanor are way different. It's obvious at one glance that Man Ji Yu is a straightforward and honest person. The Lu Yang version of him looks like a bad egg with plenty of nasty tricks in his mind. He had already given up on learning animal form fist. Even if he had originally wanted to learn it to pick up shapeshifting, seeing Lu Yang like this made him realize that he definitely couldn't master it. This already has totally nothing to do with animal form fist. After Lu Yang mastered the technique, he switched from Man Ji Yu to Meng Jingzhou fairly smoothly. This is really the shapeshifting technique, right? This is Lu-style animal form fist. Lu Yang clasped his hands behind his back and gazed up at the sky at an angle of 45 degrees, looking the part of a fist technique expert. Don't ask why Lu Yang still had his clothes on after turning from a tiger demon back into human form. This is a proper novel. Chapter 60, The Constables and the Thieves. My Lu-style animal form fist is vast and profound, not something a single spirit root like you can comprehend. As the saying goes, the heavens are 9 layers high, the earth is 9 layers deep, the Lu style is also divided into 9 realms. At the moment, I have only reached the first realm. When I have reached the higher realms, I'll be able to obtain the transformation subject's power, spells, and even cultivation. If I attain the 9th realm in the future, becoming a transcendent tribulation expert simply requires a single thought, and overpowering Big Senior's sister won't break a sweat. Lu Yang was so pleased with himself that Man Ji Yu almost believed him. The latter stealthily asked Meng Jingzhou, is Brother Lu telling the truth? Meng Jingzhou rolled his eyes. Truth my ass. It's so obvious that it's all made up. If you are willing to listen, I can fabricate 8 different versions for you. Oh, Man Ji Yu let out. He marveled at Lu Yang's and Meng Jingzhou's ability to concoct lies on the spot. A few days had passed since Lu Yang bestowed a new meaning to animal form fist. Their customers were increasing by the day, and some enjoyed themselves so much that they tipped spirit stones. Didn't we raise the prices? Why are there still so many people? Lu Yang gnawed his teeth. The biggest restaurant in Yanjiang Commandery even offered to buy our recipe yesterday. That said, he was the only one gnashing his teeth. Meng Jingzhou and Man Ji Yu were quite delighted. Man Ji Yu was on duty today to spy on Qin Yuanao upstairs while Lu Yang and Meng Jingzhou worked as waiters downstairs. While suppressing the urge to start performing Shangsheng comedy, Meng Jingzhou sent an auditory message. I heard that there was a table of cultivators here a few days ago. After eating, they were full of praise for us, saying that our food tasted better than that of any spirit chef they knew. And just like that, word spread from 1 to 10, 10 to 100, and now many cultivators know about our restaurant. Despite the Tao-seeking sect being full of spirit chefs were actually a very rare cultivator type. In Yanjiang Commandery, they could be counted on one hand, and most of them were at the Qi training stage, with only one at the foundation establishment stage. Spirit chefs place particular emphasis on the mutual generation of the 5 elements. The food they made were not only delicious but could also improve one's cultivation, achieving a union between the two. On the other hand, Mangu's barbecue skewers definitely couldn't increase one's cultivation, but they excelled in flavor. The cultivators in Yanjiang Commandery thought that since they couldn't get to eat spirit chefs' food to enhance their cultivation, at least they could eat barbecue skewers that tasted better than what the spirit chefs made. Even though the barbecue skewers were 10 times more expensive, they were still considered a bargain in the eyes of cultivators. We've gained a bit of fame among the middle and upper class circles in Yanjiang Commandery. Many commoners whose finances aren't tight are also following the trend of coming here to eat. I think they also treat it as something to brag about. We are not far away from expanding our business across the continent. Are you excited? Excited your hammer. Lu Yang rolled his eyes before quickly welcoming a new batch of customers. Boss, the first floor is already full, can't we go to the second floor? A customer noticed that the lights were on upstairs and thought that it would be a good spot. The second floor is currently under renovation and is not open to guests. We kindly seek your understanding. Even if he didn't have the intention of growing the barbecue shop, Lu Yang still carried out his role as a waiter assiduously, not having the tiniest bit of intention to slack off. The customers could only resign themselves to join the queue. Haha, it's finally our turn. Boss, I brought my brothers here again. A few bailiffs in black plainclothes came to the barbecue shop. Their waist tablets inscribed with their identity and long sabers hung at their waists, exuding an intimidating presence. The people lining up behind them instinctively kept their distance from them, trepidation gripping their hearts. Captain Wei, you're here. Lu Yang smiled, as if he was well acquainted with these people. They were constables from Yanjiang Commandery. Their captain, surnamed Wei, had a full beard and spoke with an air of authority. People gave him the nickname, Iron-Faced Captain. His cultivation was at the foundation establishment stage, and not just the hooligans but even members of diabolic creeds avoided dealing with them, fearing that they would be targeted and afflicted with endless troubles. The few constables behind were also not ordinary, with the weakest one at level 6 Qi training. In a Shenxia world, one couldn't become a constable without some cultivation. This was already Captain Wei's fourth time here, so Lu Yang was somewhat familiar with him. There were initially a few people who thought their cultivation to be a rung above the others and wanted to cut the queue, but as soon as they learned that Captain Wei came here often for supper, they fell back in place. We just got off duty and changed shifts, so I brought the brothers here for your skewers. I have to say, your barbecue skewers are really something else. Once I've tasted them, I can't forget them. Captain Wei smacked his lips, almost salivating at the thought of their barbecue skewers. Being a constable is also not easy, You have to work a night shift every 2 days, Lu Yang sighed as he led them to a private room. Once they were inside, the constables took off their outer coats. Speaking of which, it's been annoying lately. For some reason, many cultivators are streaming into Yanjiang Commandery, and they don't seem like good people. It's been putting quite a bit of pressure on public security. The commandery governor has issued multiple orders to ensure that nothing goes wrong, so I had no choice but to patrol more often with the brothers. After we're done with our patrol, I come here to reward them. Seeing that Lu Yang was quite busy, Captain Wei didn't elaborate further and began ordering the dishes. Still the same set as the last time. Lu Yang asked as Captain Wei had ordered the same barbecue skewers the last 3 times. Let's try something new this time. I already wanted to try it the last time, but the brothers stopped me. Give me 10 skewers of roasted eyes, 10 skewers of roasted silkworm pupae, and 10 skewers of centipede. Captain Wei hurriedly placed the order, not giving his brothers the chance to react. They groaned in agony. These things don't even sound edible. Look at all of you, pampered and spoiled. One day, I'll take all of you to the wilderness and spend half a month there for a mission without fasting pills. Let's see what you eat then. After the barbecue skewers and wine arrived, the constables dug into their food, savoring every fragrant bite. As they enjoyed their meals, a few constables began pouring their hearts out, cursing about their unfortunate encounters. Damn it, those thieves have been so slippery lately, they didn't leave any clues behind at all. It must have been the work of cultivators. Otherwise, even a veteran wouldn't be so adept. I reckon it's those foreign cultivators. After we catch these bastards, I'm definitely going to whip them 180 times, then throw them into the water prison. The thieves had been wreaking havoc recently, yet they were still not apprehended, making it look bad for the constables. Captain Wei complained, the commandery governor even ordered me to solve this case within a month. If he's so capable, why doesn't he do it himself? These thieves even stole from the influential Li and Lu families today. The Li family is also the commandery governor's relative. The commandery governor is surely going to put pressure on me again tomorrow. In the private room next door, a customer who looked like the leader of a gang placed the day's loot on the dining table. Today's haul was worth it. Old rules apply, I'll take 4/10, and the rest is evenly split among the brothers. The men were grinning from ear to ear, it had been a big harvest for them today. Before coming, I heard how formidable Constable Captain Wei is and his nickname, Iron-Faced Captain. But from what I see, he's nothing special. He can't even catch a whiff of our fart. That's too harsh. He at least gets to catch a whiff of our fart. The Li and Lu families are really wealthy, especially this person surnamed Ma. His cultivation isn't high, but he has lots of good stuff. Come, let's drink and eat to our heart's content, my treat today. No one is allowed to sober up. Tonight, we're not stopping until we're drunk. The thieves heartily drank to their fill. One of them stepped out to use the toilet but accidentally entered the wrong door, walking into Captain Wei's private room instead. Ah, big brother, why do you all look different, and also uglier? Where did this drunkard come from? Get lost. A constable snapped. They were still stressed over where they could arrest the thieves, yet a drunkard was now making a din. The thief was enraged and tried to start a fight, but how could he be a match for a group of constables? In no time, they threw him out. Despite discerning that the troublemaker had a bit of cultivation, the constables didn't think much of it and returned to drinking and complaining. On the other hand, the thief felt wronged and returned to complain to his boss. The group of thieves was already drunk. As soon as they heard that their brother had been bullied, the alcohol rushed to the top of their heads. Their leader was even more belligerent about standing up for his brother. Slamming the table, he arrogantly announced, "Damn it, you dare to mess with me. Go tell them next door that if they've got the guts, they should come to us. Anyone who doesn't is a coward of a grandson." Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories. And never miss out on a great listen.